Hey, welcome back. I'll walk you through the process of creating an account with Google Bart. So let's get started. Before I actually do it, I'll just show you the steps you need to follow. Let me walk through that here. So the first thing you need to do is who can create a Bart account. So let's look at this. If you fall in this criteria or not. If you don't fall in the criteria, technically you should not be having access to Google Bart, and it's totally up to you if you can bypass it or not. I won't comment on that. The first thing is Google says you should be 18 years or older, and the second criteria they say is you must have a valid Gmail account. If you don't have one, you are free to create it as long as you are 18 years or older. And why Gmail account is mandatory? Google says it's mandatory because their product used the Google infrastructure and to process the data. Hence, it only works with a Gmail account. It does not work with other email account as per what I read in the documentation. I haven't tried it with other emails, and I also confirmed this query with Google Bart. It said Gmail account is mandatory to create an account. And when it comes to service availability, at the moment, Google Bart is only available in United States and United Kingdom, and more countries will see a product roll out in the coming days. Right now, it's not available. And the other one, which Google is very particular, is if you violate any of the following reasons for Google Bart, your access will be terminated. One is create or spread defamatory content, threaten or harass others, steal or misappropriate content, impersonate other, violate the privacy of others, and violate any laws or regulations. So this is what they talk about. So if you violate any of this, your account will stay suspended. So coming to the next one, what you have to do. So let's copy this here. So I think I already have an account open. So let me go open that here. And I'll walk you through what I did here, right? So basically, you have to click on, so I think let me go and log out here, right? So I don't want it. So I logged out of my account. Okay. So this is my Google Bart. And let me click on how do you get started. The URL is already listed in the presentation. It's available right below this lecture. You can download that PPT and go from there. If not, I'll also attach a URL link underneath the lecture, which will take you to this registration page if you don't want to go through the slides. So first thing you need to do is click on join the waitlist. And I already had signed in my account. Okay, so let me type some password I had for this. This is some dummy account I'm using for this. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is access is limited, and please confirm you would like to join the waitlist and receive a notification. So just click yes on this and say I am in. Cool. So you have been added to the waitlist. So since I've already gone through this process here, I'll show you the next steps that would happen. So the first thing which it asked was we clicked on join the waitlist. I had already signed into my account, but if you have not, you enter your Gmail username and password. Gmail username, click next, then it will ask you the password, says sign in. It will take you in, then follow the steps which I just did. If you don't have a Gmail account, create Gmail account. And once the Gmail account is created, you can just repeat what we did. And again, join the waitlist. And then let me show you in my other account how this would look like after you have access to this. So you should get an email like this from Google saying you have been granted access to the Bart. And once that is done, you can actually go in here. So your Bart icon would look something like this. And we'll discuss more in detail what that is there, what you can do with this icons. But this is, if you get till here, then you have successfully created your Bart account. And you can also just test what is Google Bart. Put a question mark, send it. This is your input prompt and click next. So you will get an answer that basically means your Google Bart is up and running, and we'll look at what these icons are in the next video. So if you get till here, you have successfully navigated account creation and have Google Bart up and running. Thank you for joining. That's all I had in this. Hey, welcome back. So we saw in the previous video how to create an account with Google Bard, and we also saw the follow-up sequences on once the account is created, how you can just go ahead and start with the prompt. So here's a quick revision on what we did here. And once you actually saw the confirmation and you were allowed access to Google Bot, you can type your query in the prompt, and after typing the query, you can either do the send, but if you are doing the microphone, you can just dictate it from your mic and then click send. Then it would return the query back to you. And I'll also show you in the examples. And one more useful thing is, if you are not happy with this, you can also look at 3 drafts. So the great feature here is, if you don't like this, there are at least 3 responses for each prompt you type, and you can pick which one is most effective for you. So that's the thing about drafts. And to get to drafts, if you type anything here, the draft should show up on the post. I'll show you in the demo how draft looks like. And in the reset chat is basically the button here pointed by the green arrow, and this is to terminate the existing context and start a new context. So if you have used ChatGPT, you might have seen this feature wherein you can reset a chat. This is exactly similar to what that is, and even the meaning is pretty much the same. And the another one is Bard activity here. So activity basically is in the search history. Do you want to turn off search history or enable search history? And if you want to retrieve some prompt you had previously had, you can do that here. So those are the 2 use cases I can think of Bard activity. I'll show you that here. And similarly, this is how it would look like. You can turn this Bard activity on or off, or you can delete certain results if you don't like it. So that's what you can do with Bard activity. And I've already showed you where you can find Bard activity. We'll also cover it in the demo. The another useful thing you need to know here is, for any Bard query, you would see 3 of the following icons. So one is thumbs up, thumbs down is a good response, bad response. If you don't like the answer, you can regenerate the response, or you can also look at Google search, where it will cite the sources where it got the data from. And that's it. And if you click a bad response, then you can also provide feedback why you think you didn't like the response. As always, this is generative AI, and it's not always right, as even Google themselves claim that if you don't feel it's right in what it's returning, you can always provide feedback to make it better. So from now, let's go back to Bart here. Okay, so let me show you the Bart. Okay, so this is my Bart here. So reset chart is here. You can go click reset. It cleaned up all the sessions. And now let me say, what's the per capita of China, right? So let's ask it. It will give you that question. While it is doing it, let me also ask, what's the per capita of United States? Okay, so it gave 61,000, 12,000 here. Similarly, let's ask some more countries here. So what's the per capita of United Kingdom? And let's also ask some more countries here. Let's basically ask, what's the per capita of India, and what's the per capita of Australia? right? So you can continue like asking a couple of this, and can you and the other feature we looked at, let's look at the draft, and let's say I didn't like it. So uh, so the draft, we changed it, and let's say I like this answer. I click like on this, and let's say I want a Google related search. Okay, so I gave Google it, and here's the Google link for the same, where the source it's provided here. And let's say I don't like this answer, and just say that I wanted 2022 data, not 2021. Okay, so you can basically do couple of other stuff. And similarly, when you head to barred activity, you have option to turn off or on. And here's the barred activity setting is on. Google will store in your Google account, like any queries you submit in responses. You can always turn this off or manually delete your old barred activity by the time or topic. So basically, based on your search history and relevance, it tries to custom queries and results to you, and that's basically what they're using it for. It's and I asked Bart if it's using the same page rank. It said no, it's not using the page rank, it's using transformer model for this. So that's one thing I wanted to cover here. And similarly for delete, you can delete on variety of stuff. You can always delete last ever, and if you want a custom range, you can pick the date of queries you want to delete. So that's one more thing. And similarly, it does not show the entire query here. It just shows lambda and some part of the query, and results are not there. If you want, you can actually go and copy the prompt and type it back. You will get the results back to you. And yeah, that's all I had in this follow-up video. And in the next one, let's look at more use cases on Google Bard and where all you can use it. So this pretty much covers the introduction for now. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome to this video on how to use Google Bard to generate text. So in this video, we are going to look at how by typing questions into your prompt, we can get Google Bard to generate responses. And we are looking at some use cases on generating a news article. We will try to write a poem, a script, or for your short story, and we'll also look at ideas to generate for a new product, a blog post example, and we'll also look at how to do a presentation for school or work. And some tips I wanted to give before we get started is be specific with your prompt, and the more specific you are, Google Bard is able to generate response that is relevant to you. And use natural language. It understands natural language, so you can use regular words, phrases to communicate with it. And as Google itself claims, Google Bard is under development, and it's more likely to make some mistakes and generate some inaccurate responses. Please do provide feedback whenever it is wrong, and it learns from it, and it's expected to improve responses over time. So as we said, let's look at a new news article. So I would basically say, so can you generate a news article on stock on, let me say, Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Okay, so it generates a bank for this, and it generated the sources. So can you do more research on the news article with more sources on shareholders who were affected by Silicon Valley Bank collapse and its impact on startups? Right, so I added more context to this question. So let's see it's able to do it. So cool. So it was able to generate more data, and as I also mentioned here, you can redo the prompt if you are not happy with the answer, or if you want to see the other way this answer can be done, you can also do that here. So these are some example for how you can generate a summary of a news article. And now let's say, can you write a original poem for recession? So let's see if it's able to write one. So is this from any source or original poem? Right, so I'm asking this question to Google Bard. So yeah, this is the original, I wrote it myself. Okay, so let me also say, can you write a short story on what will be the factors which will affect United States elections in 2024? So I've asked this question to Google Bard. So let's see its response to this. Cool. And after this, let's say I want to build a lean startup using generative AI in edtech. How do I build one? Okay, so can you provide me steps to build this product? Okay, so I've made it into a question. Let's see what it says. Cool. So the other thing I want to now ask is, so write a blog post on Russia Ukraine war and upcoming geopolitical issues globally. So okay, so let me ask this question to it. Let's see what it does. So yeah, it should write a cool blog post here. So yeah, it just generated stuff about the global political order, the global economy, European Union, and the future of NATO. And let me say, I need to raise money for my startup on generative AI. Can you generate a pitch deck for me with potential areas where I can build a startup. Okay, potential areas where I can build a startup and market size by 2025. Yeah, as you can see, it's mostly doing the stuff here, and yeah, it's able to generate a pitch deck. But we'll look at it how we can integrate this into Google Workspace and Google Docs. But right now it's currently not there, so I would be updating that later on. But it's able to do give you content for your deck, and you can integrate this or customize some numbers of this, and validate this. Basically, it is not the actual data, it just gives you the outline for your deck. And as you can see from this, so Google Bart is a powerful tool that can be used to generate variety of formats. So with little practice, we can able to use it to generate creative content that is both accurate and engaging. And that's all I wanted to cover in this first use case of Google Bart. And we are going to look at more use cases in the follow-up video. Thank you for joining. I hope you liked it. Hey guys, welcome back. So now we are going to look at how to use Google Bart to perform translation into other languages. So we'll take a simple, before we actually start doing anything. So let's ask this one, that how to use Google Bart to translate languages. So we are going to ask Google Bart how to do that. Cool. So it gave something which is totally irrelevant. I don't think it's right. Seems incorrect option. So I don't see that. Okay, so let me ask it in another way. Does Google Bart support translation? It says it would. Yeah, it confirms it would. And before we get started, we are going to take a couple of French words, a Spanish word, and a Dutch word, followed by a Hindi word. So this is what I'll be covering in this video. So okay, so let's you can actually validate. I'll attach this. You can actually use Google Translate to validate the words I'm doing, if it's generating the right one or not. So let's actually do that here. So I'm asking what does bonjour in French mean in English? So many of you who know French or who are basically learning French know some of the basic words. So I'm just pasting that here. So we know what the expected output is, means good day or hello. Okay, this seems to be right. And similarly, I'm also doing a similar word, which is G was MA. I'm not really good at pronouncing French, so I'm not going to repeat all the words. So I will just copy paste it in here. So I have created the prompts for the most commonly used words. So let's see what it does. I think it says I love you. That's correct. And the next one is I like generative AI in English, and I'm copying the corresponding French word in here. Cool. So yeah, it says I love generative AI, and it gave us the word. So this seems to be accurate. And now let's move on to a Spanish word. So again, I'm not very eloquent with Spanish. So I just read through some internet to get some words, and I'm just copy pasting it here. Okay. Yep. It means the right word. It means Happy New Year. So that's correct. And correct me if any of this is incorrect, just leave a comment. I'll update it. But from whatever I looked up the internet, this word seems to be correct. So now I'm taking a Dutch word, and let's see if it's able to convert a Dutch word into English. Cool. Yeah. How was your day? So that's what it means. And then let's see if it can do this one. I don't think it would be able to do it. So it just means how was your day in Hindi to English. So it's not able to do that at the moment. Maybe they'll update this to do that in the future. So I retried it to see if it can regenerate it. No. And like I mentioned, so it has given it says they can support up to 100 languages here, and they haven't listed. I tried looking this up, which are those 100 languages. That's not available to the public at the moment. I'll upload it in the description as soon as I have access to which are those 100 languages that Google Bart would support. So that's all I wanted to cover in this series. I hope you liked it, and we'll move on to the next use case in the follow-up video. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll show you something what you can do with Google Bart which currently ChatGPT cannot. So let's ask Google Bart what is SEO. Okay, so SEO is search engine optimization. It's a process of improving visibility and ranking of a website search engine. The goal, the SEO is used to make the website more visible to potential customers who are searching for products or services on a website. The benefits of SEO are increased traffic to your website, improved brand awareness, higher conversion rates, and increased ROI. So let's ask Google Bart what are the factors which determine SEO, like keywords and other keywords. So let's ask if it's able to provide us some metrics on how how SEO is actually done. So yeah, I don't expect you to be an SEO expert, or neither am I, but I'm just showing you how this is helpful to you to incorporate this. So one is keywords. So we are looking at keywords and we will use keyword planner. If you Google it, this is the most popular way to actually see how much traffic came into your website, and it's absolutely free. So you can go ahead and try the keyword planner, and I'll show you how you can do that. The quality of content, the website structure, backlinks, mobile friendliness, page speed, and local SEO. So let's actually ask Google Bart a question. And come up with ways to improve the page for SEO. And let's actually say yahoo.com, right? So I want to basically ask, can you give me ideas to improve yahoo.com's SEO? And let's see if it's able to give us that. Okay, so it is not what I intended to. So let me also try Flipkart India smartphones. Okay, iPhone 14. Okay, so let me retry this one with what we had here. So I'll copy this again. Improve. I didn't mention the page, so my prompt was not that perfect. So okay, this is not what I wanted. Can you analyze? Okay, so it was a typo I had here, so I need to change it to page. Okay, so let's see if it's able to do that for me. So it is going to generate some data here. Cool. So if you actually have a product and you know your competitors are doing better and you want to improve the SEO for your page, this is something you can use to do that. And it's asking the product title, the meta description should include all the keywords, optimize the images, should be optimized by SEO, backlinks, can build backlinks to the product page by creating high quality content. And yeah, it basically gives you some SEO suggestions. And I'll also show you something here. So I'll ask, can you come up with related keywords for, let's actually say, let's actually say soy candles, right? So yeah, I want to say soy candles in the link and include the search volume. So let's see what it says. Cool, right? So it gave us some data here. And if you want more specific, so you can just copy paste it. And so soy candles in, let's say, India, right? Or okay, I need to redo this again. So okay, so it gave us the data for India, and similarly you can do it if anyway this is not available here, so let's do it for US here. So if you are an e-commerce seller and want to list it better in the marketplaces, this is amazing to get data on your competitors. So basically this is the data you get, and you can just copy paste and go to keyword and search it. Yeah, so you get data on this, the keyword ideas and other stuff. And let's also ask, can you provide me the top 5 soy candles site ranking based on keywords on Google. So we are gonna get okay, so Lulu candles, Amazon Bay Candle, Whole Foods Market, Target. So these are the 5 sites which are pretty much doing well. And okay, so let me also actually say, can you tell me how many times keyword Lulu candles or soy candles appeared on Lulu candle website. Let's see if we are able to get that. And this is something which ChatGPT can't do it because it does not have access to real-time data, whereas we do here. So cool. And it listed how many times where it became available. And I'll show you some cool stuff here. Can you highlight where the keyword appeared on the web page for Lulu candles? okay, appeared on the web page or appeared on the Lulu Pages website. So we are going to get that here. This is like amazing if you can get this data. Cool. So you saw their meta tag, everything. So you don't have to actually go to a page. So if you want to do that, go to Lulu Candles and cool. So this is their website. So you can go here, do their view page source, see all their meta tag on their website as well as Amazon, and see if it matches or not. So you can do that, or Google does the job for you. And to validate it, let's actually do Lulu Candles here. So I just wanted to show you this so that you can do it for your products as well as other products. And it's like really useful tool to do that. So you can actually see Lulu Candles here, top of the bid view, and the search volume, computation. So it helps you to do your search optimization, and that's like amazing. And similarly, let's say I want to see this, and let me repeat that same here. So whatever I asked, can you tell me how many times keywords appeared on? So it's not just this product, any e-commerce product, you can get the data. D2C, you can boost your performance marketing by this. So that's an amazing use case you can do with this. And similarly, you can repeat it for all the products, and you can say, or let me do this here. Cool. So if you want to do it on all the products that are the top 5 best selling and write here SEO, you can do that too, like this. Cool. So we got it. And after this, can you highlight on websites for this? So you can actually get everything. You can use it like a scraping, but this would really be helpful if they provide us access to APIs, which I'm expecting they will in the future. Right now it's not available to the public yet, so that's amazing. So you have access to all this, and similarly we can also do that here. So cool. So we'll get the data here too. So SEO is like really useful, and people who are into sales know sales and search engine know that how important SEO is. And that's all I wanted to cover in this, and this series will walk you through more use cases where this might be useful to use. And thank you for joining. Come back to this series on Google BART. The next use case we are exploring with Google BART is whenever we hit roadblocks in our Windows or hit any of our peripheral issues on Windows, can Google BART help us debug those scenarios? So the first use case I'm exploring is whenever you are connected 2 monitors to a docking station and you have an extended display on your system, will Google BART help you debug if only one of the 2 monitors are working? So let's ask that scenario to Google BART, and I've just pre-tried this question, so I'm copy pasting this question to Google BART. So what should I do when only one of my 2 monitors are working? So this looks like a pretty decent steps it's suggesting. Check if power cable connections are there. Restart your computer. Sometimes a simple restart can fix it. Try contacting a different monitor. If the monitor works, check the video settings. And if you still have problems, you need to contact the manufacturer of your monitors for further assistance. So I would like to ask another follow-up question. So I'm asking Google Bard, is the same steps valid if only one of my two monitors are connected by a HDMI cable? So this could be the case where one is a VGA cable, one is a HDMI, both are VGA. It could be any combinations. So it is able to answer that. You can only connect one monitor. If you want to connect, you will need to use two different cables such as DVI or DisplayPort. Yep, looks appropriate. And let me ask another follow-up question. And so for this, if you didn't like the answer, you can go to draft and see the other options too here. So if you still don't like it, you can do a regenerate as we looked at. You might get more different follow-up answers. So the next use case we are looking at is, most of us have seen whenever we are using Windows, we do get a blue screen and we have to forcibly restart our machine and an error code would be displayed. So let's see how Google Bard is suggesting us to debug this scenario. So these use cases have been explored, such as check the error code. So it prints some error code in there. You can copy paste and do more research about it, and update all your drivers, run a memory test if it's running low on the memory, and check for any malware and restore your system to the previous point in time. So why I'm checking these use cases and demoing them to you is, if you hit any one of them, the first thing we do is we do Google search, research the forums, or go to Stack Overflow, ask these questions and try to find the solution. So we are just checking if whatever the help desk could do, can Google Bard do it for us? So that's the purpose of trying this out. And the next one is, so it could be, I've encountered whenever you remove speakers and put headphones in there, or remove headphones and connect two speakers by default, sometimes it might not work unless you need to go into your sounds and change the settings here. Change the settings on what it is. So if you are not aware of this is some common problem which most end users encounter, and I'm just taking the most commonly encountered issues on the system. So what should be done? Let's see what it says. Okay, check the volume, check the audio device, check the audio drivers, restart your computer, check the audio settings in the window control panel. Sounds good, looks appropriate. And you can also check the draft if there are any more additional types of solutions that exist. So you can check the drafts, or if you don't like any of it, you can always do regenerate. The next one is troubleshooting when your computer mic is not working, or without any mic you might still be able to capture audio default in your laptop. Why is it not working? So that's the scenario we want to debug. Let's see what Google Bard says. Cool. So yeah, it gave us a list of steps to follow, similar to way we did the audio, similar to way we solved the audio problem. So the last question I'll be covering now is how to check if a Gmail password is hacked. So it's gonna give us a couple of steps. Check the recent activity, check your password manager, look for suspicious email, change your password immediately. So let me ask another follow-up question. So in future, how do I prevent access to my Gmail by anyone else? So I'm hoping it would suggest two-factor authentication as one of the solutions, and it could be, use a password, enable two-factor authentication, be careful what you click on. So this one is what they are referring to ransomware, and keep your software up to date and beware of phishing scams. and it gave us a link to this. So this is the next use case I did, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So the use case we are looking at today is creating a YouTube channel from the popular quotes which we can generate through Google Bart or any Google search. So Google Bart would also give you a script, as you can see here, wherein I was able to do it for Warren Buffett here. So it gave us the quotes and also the description and other stuff. The only thing you need to make sure and be safe is it's giving the right quote. So if you are not impressed by the first version of your product, you have launched it a little late. This one is actually from Reid Hoffman. It is not from Mark Cuban. So you might not get the right data, as any LLM. Google Bard also hallucinates, but the extent to which it hallucinates is probably much higher than the other competitors it has. So just wanted to mention that to you. And once you do that, what we can do is, so let's actually go into this one here. And let me say we need to create a new video, right? Create a new video from the scratch. Okay. So let me import the media, and in the media, I think let me go to V1 here, and okay, I think let me just edit it. I don't want this one here. So let's save it, and I want these two images. So let me take that in. And I would probably want more quotes from Mark Cuban too. So I asked this one to give me a list of couple of quotes. So this one is actually from Steve Jobs. I don't think this one is from Mark Cuban again. Yeah, so this one is from Steve Jobs. It's incorrect. So let me see. So again, it is not that accurate like what I mentioned. So the best way you could also, I think they are upgrading it to a newer version. So eventually this would be better. So what you can do is, once you have the script from Google Bart or any other LLM like ChatGPT, I've done some of these videos from ChatGPT too. It also does a good job. And once you do that, what you have to do is go to record here and go to text to speech. In text to speech, what we can do here is just go to this one here. So you can just say your channel name. So I could just say welcome to Famous Fuel, and let's see this.
Welcome to Famous Fuel. Today, I'm going to share with you Mark Cuban's top 10 popular quotes. Mark Cuban is a successful entrepreneur, investor, and television personality. He is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and a Shark Tank investor. His insights into business, investing, and life are invaluable.
Cool. So once you do that, you can do save to media, and save to media, we got the video. And you can just add the audio here, and you can drag and drop any video, any images, or you can also look for Mark Cuban GIFs here. Okay, so you can use any of this. Save them onto here, and once you do that, just go back to your import and upload some of this. Cool. So once we do some of this here, so what you can do is just go back to here, and I'm not making an actual video. I'm just showing you the process to make a video. You are free to play around with your own creativity. And once we do that.
Welcome to Famous Fuel. Today, I'm going to share with you Mark Cuban's top 10 popular quotes. Mark Cuban is a successful entrepreneur, investor, and television personality. He is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and a Shark Tank investor. His insights into business, investing, and life are invaluable.
Cool. So if you think this is too slow, you can also play around with the speed. And this one is absolutely a free tool, so you don't have to pay anything. So, and once you are done, you just need to go export the video. And if you are making a normal YouTube video, you can do 1:1. But if you are doing a YouTube short or an Instagram reels, you can change it to 9:16. And once you do that, just save it. And you can, I've also asked it to, so in one of my video, I'll just show you what I was able to do here. So I also asked it to write a description. So it wrote me a description for the video. I just copy pasted that here. Yeah, you could just copy paste. I just copy pasted the title, the hashtags here, and those hashtags you can just copy paste it into your tags, and you should have a YouTube channel up and running, and you won't see monetization right away. But this, I think I've seen people roughly doing this for 30 to 90 seconds, 30 to 90 days with good content. They have been able to get 1,000 subscribers and potentially monetize. And again, the area you pick, if it is popular, and you just have to spend about roughly 5-6 minutes a day creating a video. And hope this helps. And in the next video, I'll show you how you can make a video with Canva, which is another tool. And the script would pretty much be the same. So in the next one, I'll probably show you how you can do it with another LLM. But the idea is pretty similar. Once Google upgrades to the next powerful model, which is PAMN, you can also use this to this would definitely perform better. Currently, Lambda is trained on relatively smaller parameters, so it's not that optimal in generating all the tasks. As Google themselves say, they are constantly upgrading this. So eventually this would get better. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, if you have recently checked your inbox, Google has sent an email saying that Bart now has capability to help you with code. So this is what they say Bart can do. It can help you debug code. It can help you translate your code from one language to another, and it will explain you your code line by line. And it can also help you craft SQL queries for your databases, documentation for tutorial for source code, and they describe multiple things. So let's look at each one of it one by one. So for the first use case, let's actually see what's the unique capability of Google Bart. So let's look into that. So if you move on to that here, so here you can enter a prompt. So I have gone to lead code where you can see the most commonly asked questions. I've done it in my ChatGPT course too. I'm just testing the same stuff on Google Bart. So what we need here is in this program, we are checking if it's a happy number or not. So before we understand what's a happy number, let's look at this. So happy number is a number defined by the following process. Starting with any positive integer, replace the number by sum of squares of its digit. Repeat the process until the number is equal to 1, or it loops endlessly in a cycle which does not include 1. Those numbers for which the process ends with 1 are happy. And here are the examples. So if it is 19, 1 square plus 9 square equal to 82, then you do 8 square plus 2 square equal to 68, and you repeat this until the end value is 1. If the end value is not 1, then you return false. So what I'm just asking is, let me copy this and let me ask Bart, write a solution in Python. Right? So I'll just copy paste the question I had here. So let's see what Bart does. Okay, so it gave us the solution, and the best part about Google Bart, what ChatGPT can't do, is you can export your code. So what you can do here is go click export to Colab. Before, if you want to know what is Google Colab, so let me explain what Google Colab is. So Google Colab basically is wherein you can harness the full power of Python library. So it's more like Jupyter notebooks. If you guys have used Jupyter notebooks, wherein you write Python code, most data science projects and other data scientists and data engineers use Jupyter notebook a lot. And if you have used any of the cloud providers, you should have used Jupyter notebook. And let's see how this would look like. So if I do export to Google Colab, you will see a link on the left here, notebook saved in Google Drive. If you click on this, okay, so we have that here. And now let's try to run this. Okay, so it worked. Now let's run this program here. Okay, we are getting an error. So what it's saying is type error unsupported. So let me ask Bart. This is what I'm getting. Can you fix it in the previous collab you had generated in place? Okay, let me regenerate this to see if it has done it in place. Yeah, it has not updated the function. Okay, so what we just need to do is just typecast this D here. Okay. Right, so I think this is what we need to do. Yeah, I don't think we need this here, so I just need to typecast this one. Okay, so let's run this again. Cool. So if you run this, it works. So what we can also do now is cool. So if you want to do more tests, you can always go to code here. And if you want to take any of this example n equal to 2, or there could be other use cases too here, you can test it out. And similarly, what we can also do, Bart, is can you regenerate same code in C++? So they have also mentioned you can convert code from one language to another. Cool. So it has also been able to convert the same in C++, and that covers the first example wherein it can actually, where they actually say it can actually solve your coding problems, generate code. So we have looked at the code generation. In the follow-up video, let's look at more use cases, what you can do with BART. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Welcome back to the follow-up tutorial. So Stack Overflow is basically the place where engineers post all their development issues, and you can get a good list of problems in Stack Overflow. And if you look at the fix here, so there are many things people have suggested here. So let's actually copy the problem. So what he tried, what is mentioned here is, if you read through this, this is his data set. I have a data frame with several columns. For this matter, I'm only slicing one of the columns of interest. So DF is a huge data frame. When I slice data from this, okay, so it basically gives the 25 entries here, and this is what you get. And what he wants is, when value equal to 1, it's same as the price in that row. When amount is less than 1, it's price by amount in that row, right? So let me, and what he is then saying is, after that the problem is this. So let's copy this problem here. So what I have is, let me copy paste this entire problem and see what Google BART provides as a solution to this. Okay, so I've just copy pasted this entire problem. Let's see what Google BART does with this. if it's able to analyze and debug this problem. Okay, I see the reason you are getting NaNs is because you are trying to divide an integer by float. When you do this, Python will automatically convert integer to float. However, if integer is 0, then the resulting will be NaN. So to fix this, do this. This will convert price to a float before doing division. This will prevent any NaN from being generated. So yeah, it was able to debug the code for us, and this seems to be the right solution. How do I know that? Basically, people have mentioned in the solution below. So that's basically what we had to do, and it was the right solution what Bart gave us. And let's look at more use cases in the follow-up video. So this should cover, and in the meantime, let's look at another Python code. So let me also say Python error. Okay, so let me take another problem here. Okay. And yeah, this looks to be a specific problem. So let me look into. Okay, yeah, this looks like a generic problem here. So let's see what it says. Yeah, I'm just copy pasting this. So I don't need that 641. And here is the file from Morningstar. For that, let me go copy the link. Cool. So the error message you are getting is telling you that CSV file you are trying to read is a field with, but pandas is only expecting 2 fields. This could be because CSV file is not formatted correctly. This can resolve. You can try make sure the CSV is formatted correctly. If is formatted correctly, you can use SCP parameter. If you are still getting the error message, it could be because a different library to use CSV. Cool. So you can always try this. So it can debug your code, and that's basically what I wanted to demo in this video. And let's look at more capability with regard to Google Bart's coding capability in the follow-up video. Hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the third use case of Google Bart coding exercise. So what we will do is, this is a code snippet from my other Udemy course. So I would be providing this as input to Google Bart to help it understand what this code does. So before Google Bart looks into this, let me tell you what this does. So this uses a Python framework called Streamlit, where you can provide URL of any YouTube video, and you can pick whether you want the output as audio, higher resolution, or the lower resolution YouTube video, and it will download the video based on what option you select, or you can also view the video in place. That's basically what this code does. So now let me ask Google Bart, what does this code do? Okay, so is this optimized code? Cool. So okay, so it actually split the code into here. And okay, uh, where is the download option? Okay, and can this be a custom location which user provides? Cool. Okay. So now it was previously downloading in the directory where you were running the code. So what I asked it was, can I download it into a custom location? It thinks it can do that, and it provided the output here. So this seems pretty cool. And what I now need is, if I need to roll this service, how do I how do I integrate this with Google login? Let's see if it's able to do this, because at the moment I don't know how to integrate this too. Okay, so okay, that seems cool. So yeah, it seems to able to do a lot more than what I thought it could, and this seems pretty interesting. So it can also interpret the code, and let's take another example just for confirmation that it was not a okay. So here's another example which I have, wherein this is an animate chart example with Plotly. So let's understand if Google Bart knows what this is. What does code do? Okay, so can this be used on real-time data from GCP? Cool. Yeah. Okay. So this is definitely seems interesting, and it seems to understand the code and explain. And I think this is really would save a lot of time when you are working. But I'm not really sure, given the data privacy laws, how if many offices would allow you to update your Google data into here. But this is definitely helpful for your personal projects or your college projects you are trying to do. This is definitely worth a shot. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So in Google I/O, I'm pretty sure many of you have heard about the Palm 2 model. Even though the course is Lambda, Google was initially using Lambda for BART. Now they have upgraded to Palm 2. So Palm 2 is nothing but path language model, and whatever parameters they had, now they have scaled to 540 billion parameters. So when we say 540 billion parameter, it is on par or better than on par or at least better than GPT-4. So the scale of parameters that have been trained is amazing, and it has been trained using TPUs. And I'll point you to the paper here, which is 65 papers, 87 pages long. I've just taken the important snapshots for the purpose of this lecture. I haven't gone into greater detail because this itself would be a course, and I'm pretty sure not everyone would be interested into that level of detail, but I will point you to the article wherein you can read all the detail how this transformer was trained. So as Google themselves say, as scale of the model increases, performance across tasks while also unlocking newer capabilities. So And on top of it, Google also talks about multilingual data sets that include high quality web documents, books, Wikipedia, conversations on GitHub code. They have also created something called as a lossless vocabulary that preserves all the white spaces, especially important for code, splits out vocabulary, Unicode characters into bytes, and individual tokens, one for each digit. As far as I know, this is very well trained on Python dataset, but Google recently announced this will also support 20 other programming languages. And the breakthrough capabilities that it has achieved are in variety of areas. So some of them are what Google talks about are on language, reasoning, and code tasks. So Google have evaluated it on 29 widely used English natural language tasks. So with 540 billion parameters training, it has surpassed a few short performance of prior language model such as GPT-3, Megatron, NLG, Grapher, Lambda on 28 out of 29 tasks. So 28 out of 29 tasks, Palm 2 performed well or even better than this existing models. And here are some improvement over SOTA. So that's basically what they're talking about here. And this is explained in greater detail on the training data set that was used in the paper. So if you are more interested, you can go through that. And it also talks about something on, let me try to get you that here. So it talks about tokens that are used for each of this model. And it also talks about, here you see Lambda, here you see variety of other models, how they have performed. So this is like on each tokens multilingual and other stuff. So this would be too boring if I go into all of it in the detail. So I'm just going it in brief detail so people who don't know much of programming can also understand. If you want, just leave a comment. I'll make a greater detail on 87 pages. So that should roughly be an hour's worth of time. But I do have that paper attached for you to self-study. So here is what Google claims they can do it better. So demonstrates impressive natural language understanding and generation capabilities on several big tasks. So model can distinguish cause and effect, understand conceptual combinations in appropriate context, and even guess a movie from an emoji. So here you can see which of the following sentence, so which movie is this emoji. So it's able to predict some of this. So I think Google also had a card game on Google I/O, which was done using a similar model here. So the next one, let's look at what they talk about. It is reasoning. So by combining model scale with chain of thought prompting, PALM shows how breakthrough capabilities on reasoning that require multiple step arithmetic or common sense reasoning, prior LLMs like Gophers saw less benefit from the model scale in improving performance. So in PAM2, combined with chain of thought prompting on 3 arithmetic datasets and 2 common sense reasoning dataset, so 8 shot prompting, PAM solves 58% of problems in GSM 8K, a benchmark of thousands of challenging grade level math questions, outperforming prior top score. So 55% was achieved by GPT-3, which was a 175 billion parameter training. I need GPT-4, they haven't mentioned what was the training data set, but it is said that PAM2 scored 60%, which is 5% higher than what GPT-3 had scored. I don't know the GPT-4 score because that's not public yet. So remarkably, PAM can even generate explicit explanations for scenarios that require a complex combination of multi-step logical inference, world knowledge, and deep language understanding. So if you look at this example below, it can provide a high quality explanations of novel jokes not found on the web. And again, some might not find it funny, some might find it funny, but we are just looking at the context here, and this is just for educational purpose to understand what's being trained here. And the other task which they talk about, which GPT-4 which is PAM has done a good job, is it is able to do well in generalized to coding tasks such as writing code given a natural language from text to code, translating code from one language to another, and fixing compilation error code to code. So PAM model with 540 parameters saw very strong performance across coding and natural language tasks in a single model, even though it has only a 5% code in the pre-training dataset. Its few shot performance is remarkable because it's on par with the fine-tuned Codex 12 billion parameter model with 50 times less Python code or training. So the result reinforces earlier finding that language model can be efficient than the smaller model because they transfer learning from both programming language and natural language effectively. So here is a prompt which is asked, and it is able to translate code. There are some more examples here, so you can actually look at them. And the another thing with GPT which PAM talks about is it can fix code. So you can see an increase in performance by fine-tuning PAM on Python only code dataset, which we refer to as PAM coder. For example, in code repair task called deepfix, where the objective was to modify initially broken C programs until they compile successfully, PAM achieved a very impressive performance, achieving a compile rate of 82%, outperforming the prior 71% state of the art. So this opens up opportunity for fixing more complex code that arises during software development. So that's the one. And the last one I wanted to talk about is multilingual. So where this PAM is useful for us was pre-trained on parallel multilingual text on a much larger corpus of different language than its predecessor PAM. This makes excel at multilingual tasks. So that's basically what I wanted to cover, and I think that's all I had. But here are some more things I wanted to talk about. How was PAM built and evaluated? It excels at tasks like advanced reasoning, translation, code generation because of how it was built. It improves upon predecessors PAM by unifying three distinct research advancements in large language models. One is use of compute optimal scaling. The basics of compute optimal scaling is to scale the model size and training dataset in proportion to each other. These new techniques make it smarter and smaller than the previous model, but efficient with overall performance, faster inferences, and fewer parameters to serve, and a low cost and improved dataset mixture. So previous was used on training dataset that was mostly English only. With the current model, the corpus of data used to train is more multilingual and diverse, which makes hundreds of human and programming languages, mathematical equations, scientific papers, and web pages relatively easier for it to understand. So updated model language has an improved model and architecture and was trained on variety of different tasks. All this helps to be highly efficient and get different aspects of input. So what PAM achieves? So it achieves state-of-the-art results on reasoning benchmark tasks such as Vinograde and Big Bench Hard. It is significantly more lingual than the previous PALM model, achieving overall greater results. So it in terms of responsible AI, it has three new steps which makes it committed to safety and AI development, which is pre-training dataset, new capabilities, and evaluation. So that's all I wanted to cover. I know this is a very long lecture, but I would also attach the paper for you to read through. This would probably take a lot of time, but it's worth the effort if you want to know all the new features that are coming up and how they work, and the results you get. So if you want to correlate all the three, this would be like a very good paper for you to read. And whether you don't, if you don't understand, you can just load this paper and ask it to understand, explain it to you, like whatever your understanding level is. So it would scale down and explain to you, but this, some of these concepts are really important to understand, because this would basically make when you apply some of these prompts, the results that are provided to you, it would give you a good understanding. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So in the current one, we are going to look at the new update Google Bart has rolled out. So this one is basically the content we are generating in the Google Bart. We can now export either to Google Docs, or we can export as a draft in Gmail, and this would also ensure the formatting you get in Google Bart would be preserved when the export is done. So Google also mentions why they have added this feature. So it is to speed up and simplify your workflow by giving you a way to export Google Bart's responses and edit them directly in Google Workspace apps. So if you go click on updates, you should basically see the description of this. So now let me show you how you can just prompt something and ask it. So let me basically ask, do market research on generative AI apps demand by 2025. Okay, so I've asked it to generate some data on app demand for generative AI by 2025. So it actually gave some data here. Assuming you like this, if you don't like this, you are free to reprompt it and get the desired output. And once you do that, then there is a new option which got added here, export response. So if you click on this, and the first functionality you can do here is export to Google Docs. So if you click on this, it creates a document and it says open docs. If you click on this, this functionality got exported to Google Docs here, and from Google Docs you can either save it and share it with someone, or you can format it, or if you want some suggestions, there are options here. If you just want to view it, you can turn on the viewing mode, or if you just want to modify it here, then go to download it in various formats. You can do whichever format works for you. And that's the first functionality I wanted to cover. And coming back to Google Bart, if you go save the draft in the Gmail, so it is going to create a draft and that would be saved in Gmail, which we are looking at. And from Gmail, you can make modifications and share it. So this is the new functionality I wanted to cover. I hope this helps. Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you guys had watched Google I/O. If you haven't, let me recap some newer features which was mentioned in Google Bart. So previously, we knew we could input text to Google Bart and it gave us results we were looking for. But what's new in the Google Bart is, so let's assume you are planning to visit a place. So let's take this example, right? So let's take this example. What are the places to visit? What are some must-free places in San Francisco this weekend? So if you give this, so now as you can see, previously you only used to get text data back. So the updated Bart, where the language model has been updated, will also now give you the images back. So this basically helps you to visualize where you might be going and feel that place before actually booking your tickets or making your plans. So that's the power of new power that's got added to Bart. And how Google enables this. So Google is using, along with Google search, its inbuilt knowledge graph to find you relevant images. So you can also use image as an input to Google using Google Lens. We are going to cover it later. I don't think that feature is rolled out yet, so I don't have it working for me yet for you guys to demo, but this one was just rolled out probably a few days back, and I tested a couple of prompts, so just wanted to update. This feature is now ready to use, and maybe it's rolled out in United States. I'm not sure it's rolled out in other countries too. I checked with couple of friends, so from the feedback I got, I think many are able to use this. That's why I added it in the lecture, so you can try it out and let me know if this is working for you or not in the comments. Thank you for joining. Guys, welcome back. Today we are going to see how we can actually critique and compare two websites and website design using a prompt in Google Bard. So we will be looking at this website, Byju's Future School. It's a tech website, and similarly Moon Entrepreneur is similar to another tech website. So all we want to do is so you could actually critique two websites here. So what this would do is critique and compare two website designs. So for the first one, it lists the pros and cons. The pros is clean, modern, on white space and large fonts. Navigation is easy to use. Content is well organized, mobile friendly. And it also has feedbacks. You could use more visuals to break up the text, call to action, and the more social integration. So you have a side-by-side comparison of the chart. And if you just want to critique one website, you can do that too. So just in this critique, take the compare out and just say critique website design. So as you can see, you can critique individual websites, or if you want to compare it with a competitor website and actually see what all the areas you can enhance to make your website better or on par with competition, you can do that too with this. So I will attach this prompt. You can try and test out variety of other websites. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we are now looking at how to reverse engineer Google Bard into a command line. And this is something we are trying because Google Bard is not public for non-GCP users. So if you have to use non-GCP Google Bard, this is one of the ways of doing it. And what I would be doing here is the first thing we need to do is install this package, and this package is called Google Bard here. So let me go to my terminal and say install this. Okay, I've already installed this package. And the next thing I need to do is if I do help here, so the first thing it's asking us to do is get the session and SID here. And if I go back to this page, how to get this value, so go to your Google Bard, type F12 and go to application, cookies and secure PID. So I am in my Google Bard terminal. I did press F12 and I went to application, and this is the cookies. In cookies, I went to Google Bard, and this is what the ID it's asking us to fetch here. So this is the ID it's asking us to fetch here. So once I do that, I'll go back to my terminal here, and I would just copy paste that value. So we have now entered a Google Bard shell. So let me ask it a question. Can you write a song on AI? So if I do that, and what should we do to set enter here for this? So it's already listed in the command here. So escape enter would work for us here. So if I just do escape enter, so yeah, Google Bard is now responding back to us. Okay, so let me ask it, can you write a review on the movie. Let me call it suggest any movie, right? So let's call Game of Thrones. And let me take the movie out. So can you write a review on Game of Thrones? And I would just do escape enter. So let's see what it does. Cool. So the idea here is if you want to use this within a terminal or a Streamlit application or any other use case you want to do, this is an unofficial way of doing it at the moment. But just remember your session ID. You need to have access to your session ID for this to work. And so even if you build an application, it would be using your sessions ID. So that's one thing I wanted to demo this. We'll also look at how to use official Google BART API. This was the unofficial way of doing it, mostly for non-enterprise users. And that's all I wanted to cover here. I hope you liked it. Thank you for joining. I would attach the GitHub link in the video so you can get started with this. Thank you. Of transformers. So in machine learning, every couple of years, somebody invents something new and crazy, which will make us consider all the previous understanding and enable us to envision stuff what was previously considered impossible. So today, what we are looking at is something called transformers. So why transformers are important and where they are used. So transformers are models which can translate text, write poems and write articles, and even generate computer code. And as you are already aware, for any given transformers have been trained on a variety of machine learning models. And the examples of transformers basically are BERT, which is a Google trained language model, GPT-3, and the another one is T5. And until transformers, we used to understand text with the help of a neural network, which was previously called as recurrent neural network, which is represented in the diagram here. So to translate a sentence from English to French, RNN would take an English sentence as an input and process each word one by one sequentially and convert them into French. So in language, the order of word matters, and we cannot just stifle them around. Let's take an example in the next one. So the limitation of RNN is, so if you have a very large sentence, it cannot get the information at the start of the sentence, what context it was and what meaning it meant. And the another thing is, since it is done sequentially, you cannot do RNN in parallel. Those are the two limitations of RNN. And let's look at this example, which I was talking about. So Jane went looking for trouble and trouble went looking for Jane are completely two different words. So they are not the same. So the model that deals with sentences has to capture the word order. Since RNN does this by looking each of this word sequentially, we have two major issues with RNN. So when you have a very large sequences of text paragraphs or essay, by the time they are processed the end of the paragraph, it actually forgets what the beginning meant. So the context of this paragraph, the context of the sequences is lost. Since RNN is processed sequentially, it loses so it cannot parallelize well. So these are the two limitations. And now let's come back to transformers. So transformers were initially created by Google with a Canadian university, if I remember right. And the initial purpose why it was designed was to do translations. So unlike RNN, transformers could be parallelized. That is, if you use the right hardware like a GPU, you can train pretty large models in a finite time, then probably RNNs could have been trained, approximate the entire public web. So in layman terms, combine a model that scales well with a massive data set and the results will blow your mind. So that's basically what transformers are. And so if you look at this example here, these are all the components of a transformer. And the three major ones we need to understand here are positional encoding, attention, and self-attention. So these are the three concepts we need to be aware of, or we can also call them the three main innovations which make transformers work very well. So when it comes to positional encoding, so trying to translate a text from English to French, instead of looking at the word sequentially, take each word in your sentence and before you feed it into neural network, slap it with a number on it depending on what number word is it in the sentence, and save that info of word order in the data itself rather than in the structure of neural network. So if you look at this example, we have clustered the words and assigned numbers to each of the word. And when you train the network with lots of text data, and it also learns how to interpret those positional encodings in a way, neural network learns the importance of the word order from the data. This is the high level understanding of positional encoding. And after positional encoding here, let's move on to attention. So what is attention? Imagine trying to translate the sentence, English sentence, into French, and one bad way of trying to do it is convert each word by word. So in French, some words are flipped. For example, European comes before economic, and attention mechanism is a neural network structural mechanism which allows text model to look at every single word in the original sentence when making a decision on how to translate the word in the open sentence. It's a sort of heat map that shows where the word is attending, where when its output each words in the French sentence. So you can assume it as a heat map for attention. So you're not going to do word by word because some of the meaning and the way each vernacular language is structured is different. So it won't work that way. So instead we have to look at the context of the entire word and then we have to do the translate. So this is the heat map for attention which we were talking about previously, and it's taken from a paper, and that's basically what I'm demoing it to you here. And here the next one is self-attention. So previously with respect to attention, what we understood was to do with aligning words in English and French. What if the goal is to understand underlying meaning, enabling you to build a network which can do any number of language tasks? So what's incredible about neural network like transformers is, as they analyze tons of data, they begin to interpret this internal representation of language automatically. So example, when they may learn words like programmer, software developer, software engineer are synonymous, they also learn rules of the grammar, gender, and tense. So the better internal representation of the language the neural network learns, the better it will be in any language task. So the most effective way to do this is to turn on as attention while reading the input text itself. So let's look at the example here. So by looking at the context of the surrounding words, self-attention helps neural network understand the word in context and word around it. So if you look at this example, server can I have a check is totally different from looks like I just crashed the server. So even though actors in both of them is server, but basically uh, the meaning is completely different. So if you understand the context and if you are trained on it, you can actually make better inferences. So this is basically what the idea of transformers is. And the three major stuff you need to understand is RNNs were basically what if you have worked on neural networks and training them. So that's basically what RNNs are. And you know the limitations of RNN we just discussed. And after RNN, we looked at what are transformers and how they might be useful. Uh, and apart, then we looked at the three main innovations of transformers. One is personal encodings, attention, and self-attention. Guys, welcome back. So in this video, I have condensed the paper of Google Lambda. I'll be attaching that paper for you if you want to go through the complete details of how Google Lambda was trained and all the terms of dialogue, applications, and all the terms used in the paper. But this is a short condensed form which gives you a summary of the paper. So Google was creating a language model that isn't new. In fact, Lambda joins the likes of BERT and MUM, a way for machines to better understand user intent. So Google has researched language-based model for variety of years with the hope of training a model that could essentially hold insightful and logical conversation on any topic. So far, Lambda appears to be the closest for Google to achieving this milestone. So, and one more thing I wanted to mention was, as per the latest dataset when BARD was out, it was said the BARD, the current model that's out now, it was trained on 175 billion parameters. So Lambda is basically an acronym for Language Model for Dialogue Application, was created to enable software to better engage in fluid and natural conversation. So Lambda is based on the same transformer architecture which we looked at in the previous video as other language models such as BERT, GPT-3, Go, Gophers, or many other models that are out there. However, due to its training, Lambda can understand nuanced questions and conversations covering several different topics. With other models, because of open-ended nature of conversation, you could end up speaking about something completely different despite initially focusing on a single topic. The behavior can easily confuse most of the conversational models and chatbots. And during Google I/O announcement, it was said that Lambda was built to overcome these limitations of the other model. So the demonstration proved how the model could naturally carry out a conversation on any random given topic despite the stream of loosely associated question on track, which was amazing to see. And the next one we will be looking at is how does Lambda work? So Lambda was built on Google open source neural network transformer, which is used for natural language understanding. So the model was used to find pattern in sentences, correlation between different words used in those sentences, and even to predict which word is likely to come next. So it does this by studying datasets consisting of dialogue rather than just individual words. While a conversational AI is similar to a chatbot software, there are some key differences between both of them. For example, chatbots are trained on limited specific datasets and can only carry on limited conversation based on data and exact questions it's trained on. Whereas Lambda is trained on multiple different datasets, it can have open-ended conversations. So during this training process, it picks up the nuances of open source dialogue and adopts. It can answer questions on different topics depending on the flow of the conversation. So as I already told you, Lambda was trained on 1.5 trillion words and 175 billion parameters. Google explained Lambda has two separate training processes. One was pre-training and the other one was fine-tuning. And coming to pre-training, for pre-training stage, the team at Google created roughly 1.75 trillion words and multiple web documents. The data set is tokenized. Tokenized in the sense turned into a string of characters to make sentences into roughly about 2.8 trillion tokens on which the model was initially trained. During pre-training, the model uses general and scalable parallelization to predict the next part of the conversation used on the previous tokens it has seen. And similarly, the next part is the fine tuning. So Lambda is trained to perform generation and classification tasks during the fine tuning phase. Essentially, the Lambda generator, which predicts the next part of the dialogue, generates several relevant responses based on back and forth conversation. The Lambda classifiers will then predict the safety and quality score of each possible response. Any response which is low safety is filtered out before the top scored response is selected to continue the conversation. The scores are based on safety, sensibility, specificity, and interesting percentages. So here is an example. So the goal is to ensure the most relevant, the most high quality, ultimately the safest responses is provided. So this image you see here is basically a score of safety, sensible, specific, and interesting, and it is from a Google blog. It is also mentioned in the paper I'll be sharing in this sharing below this lecture, so you can go through and read it in more detail. And similarly, the three main objectives of the model have been defined to guide the model training. These are quality, safety, and groundedness. So this is based on human rater dimensions, which is sensibleness, specificity, and interestingness. The quality score is used to ensure response makes sense in the context it is used, that it is specific to the question and is considered insightful enough to create a better dialogue. And the next one is safety. To ensure the model follows the standards of responsible AI, a set of safety objectives are used to capture and review the model's behavior. This ensures output does not provide unintended responses and avoids any bias. And the next one we are looking at is groundedness. So what is groundedness? It is defined as a percentage of response containing claims about the external world, which in other words is references to what it says. So this is used to ensure responses are factually as accurate as possible, allowing users to judge the validity of a response based on reliability of the source. And when it comes to evaluation, though an ongoing process of quantifying progress, responses from the pre-trained model, fine-tuned model, and human raters are being reviewed to evaluate responses against after mentioned quality, safety, and groundedness metrics. So far, they have been able to conclude that quality metrics improve with the number of parameters, safety improve with fine-tuning, groundedness improves as the model size increases. And whatever is mentioned is another image from the Lambda paper which I have here. And I think ultimately that's it. And let me also bring you to the Lambda paper which I'll be attaching in this link. So it exactly has what we just read through, but in more detail. And if anyone's interested in this, they are free to go ahead and read it. I hope this helped. Thank you for joining. Welcome back. So we know what language models are now, and in this video we are looking at what datasets were used to train Google BART. So basically the idea here is let's talk through the highlights, then we are going to look at more details. So details of websites used to train Google Bard or Lambda are looks like a confidential data for now. So 50% of training data came from public forums. Programming Q&A website tutorials were used for training. And one more thing we need to understand is, so Google Bard is based on a Lambda language model trained on datasets based on internet content, and one such dataset is Infinity Set, of which very little is known about where the data comes from. So the 2022 research paper, which I'm just sharing it here, which will be added as an attachment in the link to this below this video. You can go read through that in detail when you find time. So the idea here is 12.5% comes from publicly crawled dataset and another 12.5% comes from Wikipedia. And coming to this, what is Infinity dataset? So Infini set dataset. So Google Bard is based on language model, which is an acronym for language model for dialogue applications, was trained on a dataset called InfiSet dataset. It is a blend of internet content that was deliberately chosen to enhance the model to engage in a dialogue. So if you want to go through that in the paper, I'll just show you the paragraph for this. So if you go to this page here and do Control F, search here. So yeah, so you see this, the composition was chosen to achieve a more robust performance of dialogue tasks while still keeping the ability to perform tasks like code generation as a future work. So we can choose how this composition may affect the quality of some of other NLP tasks performed by the model. So I'm just giving references to the dataset as and when I encounter it. I'm not going through the paper in detail. You have to read through that paper in detail if you want to know more. So the research paper makes reference to dialogue and dialogues, which is the spelling of the words and in the context within the realm of computer science. And in total for Lambda, the pre-trained on 1.56 trillion words for public dialogue data and web text. And the data set is compared to the following mix. The 12.5% comes from C4 based data. The other one comes from English like Wikipedia. 12.5% comes from programming Q&A website tutorials and others. 6.5% comes from English. 6.25% comes from non-English and 50% from public forums. So the first two parts of Infi dataset is comprised of data that is known. So the C4 dataset, which will be explored shortly, is specifically the filtered version of Common Crawl dataset. So if you read about Google Bard's rival large language model OpenAI, they have also used Common Crawl dataset. This is available for anyone. Even if you want to build a large language model tomorrow, this dataset is available to you. Only 25% of data comes from named source, which is C4 and Wikipedia. The bulk of the Infi dataset, 75%, are data scraped from the internet. Does not say how the data was obtained from the websites, what website it was obtained from, and the criteria for scraping the data is not mentioned. Only uses generalized description like non-English web words. So the word murky means when something is not explained and is mostly concealed. So murky is the best English word describing 75% of the data that Google has used for training Lambda. There are some clues that may give us some general hint on what sites were obtained, but we can't know for certain if that's the dataset that was used. Coming to C4, it is a dataset developed by Google in 2020. C4 stands for Colossal Clean Crawled Corpus. So this dataset is based on Common Crawl data, which is an open source data source. So about Common Crawl, Common Crawl is a registered non-profit organization that crawls the internet on a monthly basis to create free dataset anyone can use. He is currently run by people who have worked at Wikipedia Foundation and a bunch of former Googlers. So C4 is developed from Common Crawl. The raw Common Crawl data is cleaned by removing things like thin content, obscene words, navigational menus, deduplication in order to limit the dataset to main content. The main point of filtering. So the main point of filtering is to remove unnecessary data and retain the examples of natural English. So having said that, so I'm also going back to this paper here to show you that. So if you search for this word in the paper, okay, if you do Control F and Control V, okay, it's not in this paper. So yeah, so this is what researchers in Common Crawl wrote about. So to assemble our base data set, we downloaded the web extracted from April 2019 and applied a foremost filtering. This produces a collection of data that is not only of the magnitude larger than most data sets used for pre-training, but also comprise of reasonably clean natural English. We dub this dataset as C4 and release it part of TensorFlow datasets. So there is another paper which Google has published, which is documenting the large corpus paper. I'm just sharing that. I will also attach this paper. So this talks about how the C4 dataset is actually cleaned by Google and used it as released as a TensorFlow dataset. So when you have time, you can read this too. We won't be covering it in this course. So interestingly, the second research paper discovered anomalies in original C4 dataset, which resulted in removal of web pages that were Hispanic and African American aligned. Hispanic aligned web pages were removed by the blocklist filter swear words at the rate of 32% of the pages. African American pages were removed at the rate of 42%. Presumably, those shortcomings have been addressed. Another finding was 51.3% of C4 dataset consisting of web pages that were hosted in United States. So lastly, 2021 analysis of original acknowledges the data represents only a fraction of internet dataset. And the next one is, these are the 25 datasets which are sorted by the number of tokens that was used by C4. This includes patent.google, Wikipedia, New York Times, Latin Times, Guardian, Journals, Forbes, Huffington Post, patents.com, Script, Washington Post, Fool.com, frontiersin.org, Business Insider, and couple of other more sites, Kickstarter. So there are many other sites that were used to train this. And so the next one is the concept of massive webs. So what could be the dialogues data from the public forums? So 50% of training data comes from data from the public forums. That's all Google Lambda research paper says about this training data set. If one were to guess, Reddit and other communities like Stack Overflow or Safe Bets. Reddit has also been mentioned as a data source by OpenAI, which is the Google's rival LLM. So it's most likely Google might have also used it. So Google also published details of another dataset of public dialogue sites a month before publication of Lambda, which is the massive web dataset, which contains the public sites in the dialogue. And a good example of what Google chose for language model that focused on dialogue, Massive Web was created by DeepMind, which is also another company owned by Google, and they use a language model called Gophers. So this is the paper on Gophers. and you can read through what Gopher says. So this is about the DeepMind. This is beyond the scope of this. I just wanted to mention this because the data sets, there are some overlap for different models. So just wanted to mention this. If this is too confusing, you can ignore this. For this, so massive data sets uses dialogues, web sources that go beyond Reddit in order to avoid bias towards creating Reddit influence sites. So if you go through the next one, these were the potential websites used in massive web: Reddit, Quora, Facebook, YouTube, Medium, and Stack Overflow. Again, this isn't suggesting the Lambda was trained on the above sites. It is likely Google might have used some of these data sets, or they might have used another forum like probably Google Pages or some other forums which are internally from Google. So that is not very clear at the moment. So I don't have exact information on that. So the remaining 37.5 dataset comes from Q&A forums, Wikipedia, English grammar, and non-English grammar. And Google does not specify the sites used in the programming Q&A sites that make up the 12.5% of the data sets. And one more concern that people have on Google's transparency is some of the sites like Stack Overflow and Quora may be redundant if Google answers all the questions. So these are some of the concerns they also have. Like any new model or any new AI that comes up, there's always concern about the existing system because people are resistant to change. So that's all I wanted to cover for now. I hope you liked it. Check the links for the papers we discussed in this. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are now looking at the responsible AI in Google in general and what applies to Google Bard. And we will also look at what Google AI will and what Google AI will not in terms of responsible AI. So the idea here is basically Google's AI principle at a higher level are nothing but a set of guidelines that shape how Google develops and uses artificial intelligence either for their own products or for products that they make available to their customers. The principles were created to ensure users use it in a responsible and ethical way. And the first aspect of this basically is to benefit humanity. The idea here is the AI should be developed and used in such a way it benefits humanity. This includes using AI to solve real world problems. For example, Google has something called disaster recovery identification, flood identification, climate change, and poverty. So that's the areas what they imply by benefit humanity and be socially beneficial. So the idea, what it means by socially beneficial is AI should be developed and used in a way that is socially beneficial, which includes developing tools to promote fairness and equality and to protect privacy and security. And the third one is be accountable. So AI should be developed and used in a way that is accountable. So if you think it includes probably being transparent about how AI works and being responsible for consequence of using AI or the models you develop, taking ownership for it. And the next one is be safe and secure. So AI should be developed and used in a way it is safe and secure. So this includes protecting bias and discrimination against bias and discrimination and preventing AI from being used to harm people. And the next one is be reliable and robust. AI should be developed and used in a way that is reliable and robust. This includes ability to withstand unexpected result and being able to correct the mistakes. And the next one is be fair and just. So AI should be developed and used in a way that is fair and just. This includes ensuring AI does not discriminate based on people, based on any parameter, either age, gender, or race. And that's basically what it is. And when we say beef, that's it. And the next one is it's currently under development, and Google themselves claim it might make errors. So there are options which we went over. You can provide feedback so that they would be able to enhance this model as and when new versions come up. And the next one is Google AI will not create or develop autonomous weapons that select and engage target without human intervention. The next one is build or use AI systems that are biased or discriminate against individual groups. And the next one is create or develop systems that could cause physical or psychological harm to individuals or groups. Then create or develop AI systems that could violate human rights. So Google confirm that it's committed to responsible development and use of AI, and they believe that AI has the potential to be a powerful tool for the greater good, and they are working to ensure AI used in a way that is beneficial to users and humanity at large. So that's what I wanted to talk about responsible AI and what AI will and what AI will not here. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey, welcome back. So in this video, we are walking through the limitations of LLM like BART. LLM is a large language acronym for large language model. So as you guys already know, BART is part of a long-term ongoing generative AI, which is being built by Google responsibly. And throughout this course, Google talks about the limitations associated with LLM, and we will also explore what are the limitations there, and this slide talks about it. And the focus will be on 5 areas. Basically, accuracy. So BART responses might be inaccurate, especially when talked about complex queries or factual topics. Then bias. So BART responses might reflect biases or perspectives present in its training data. BART's response, the third part we'll talk about is persona. So BART responses might suggest it as having personal opinions or feelings, then false positive and false negative. So BART might not respond to some appropriate prompts and provide inappropriate responses to other. The last one is adversarial prompting and vulnerability to it. So what we are talking about here is users might find ways to stress test BART further. There are areas which is currently under research and development, and Google is committed to improving it over time, but temporarily you might get some answers which you should not be getting, or you might BART might respond to some prompts which it should basically say it won't respond. So that's basically what it's talking about, which is what I just talked about here. So again, to repeat, accuracy, it is nothing but some responses might be inaccurate, especially when asked about factual or complex topics. So if you basically ask it about some complex programming function, currently it might not give you the right answer. And bias. So when we talk about bias, BART responses might reflect its personal biases and perspective present in its training data. And third is persona. We already talked about it. It suggests it's having personal opinion or feelings. Then the false positive and the false negative. What we mean here is might not respond to appropriate prompts and provide inappropriate responses to other. Third one is vulnerability to adversarial prompting. You will find ways and to stress test BART further. And the areas of research it talks about is currently under development. And in the next slide, I have provided you the link to the Google reference. So if you click on this link, you should see this paper from Google which talks about it. And in this page, you can read through in detail all the accuracy stuff. Here it talks about the quantum of the training data and trained generated responses. So this one is actually not properly shared because we don't know which model Google has made public yet. So I don't have access to write data on this, but this is the actual paper from Google where they did last week when they released BART. And similarly on bias, so here they have given some stereotypes in its training data, resulting in a model reflecting output as it tries to predict some possible responses. And they've also given some examples. So it could be cultural, demographic, or reference problematic stereotypes, or gender, religious, or ethnic. And persona, yeah, we have already gone through this, so it's not something very serious. So here they talk about some instances of what's false positive and false negative. So they will continue to fine tune the model and make it better, but today you might get some answers which you should not be getting. And when it comes to this one here, we have already mentioned this, you should be 18 years or older. And they've also mentioned that they've done enough stress testing here, but there are also some areas which might bypass their test. So the link is provided in the PPT, so you can go and read through this one more. And thank you for joining. That's all I had. Hey guys, welcome back. The topic we are looking at today is generative AI search with Google. So we all know that generative AI search is a new way to find information on Google, which uses artificial intelligence to generate a snapshot of a key information with links to dig deeper. So the snapshot includes a summary of most important factors to consider, as well as links to the website. So if you basically want to search, let's look at an example here. So if I want to basically search how to make a cake here and enter, so you will see the typical procedure to make a cake, but the generative AI snapshot includes many methods involved in making a cake. So if you click on generate, you will have access to it. And if you are wondering how do you get access to this generative AI search, you see something in Google which is Search Labs. So go to Search Labs, and here you have to join the waitlist. I have already joined the waitlist, and once you have joined the waitlist, they will roll out for you. So you will see SGE, which is generative search. So you should have access to this. And once you do generate, it is gonna give you the recipes to make it. It is still in beta, but it's a really powerful feature which can help us to find the information quickly and easily. To use generative AI search on any topic, look for snapshot section at the top of the results page. So basically this is the ingredients you got. And let's assume I want to make a follow-up question here. Is this cake eggless, right? So let's assume you are vegan and you don't eat eggs. So let me ask it, is this cake eggless? So if not, it is going to give us some recipe how to make eggless cakes here. So it actually remembers all the questions. So can you suggest some quick recipes for eggless? Let's see if it gives us that. Okay, so it is giving us that. So basically the important things I wanted to talk about are, these are the additional details on generative AI search. So it is new feature that uses AI to generate snapshot of the information. So when we search for a topic, it will use AI to generate the snapshot of the most important factors to consider, as well as the links here. So you can see links that are generated on the top, and it allows you to ask a follow-up question, and it is currently still in beta. So it might see some modifications done. So if you have enabled this Search Labs here, as I showed you, and enabled SGE, you will be able to use it. So I hope this really helps. Let me know if you have used, if you are going to use generative AI search and how this compares to your traditional search. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So now I have an update for you that I have got some working features for you from Google Bard. So the first use case we are looking at is drafting emails with AI, and this is what you need to do. So this is your step. So in your workspace lab, so go to your Gmail and you can select the prompts you select and enter, generate the text, your feedback on the text, and text in the draft you define, and up to 4 previous message threads where you use the help me write prompt to reply to an email. So basically on once we open Gmail, let me say compose. So in compose email, it shows you help me write. So if you click on this, let's assume write a cover letter for a solutions architect role in NVIDIA, right? So let's say you want to apply for a role in NVIDIA and say create, it will create this. So it created a draft for us, and if you don't like it, you can refine it. So just say formalize it. And if you don't like the formal one, you can also change it to elaborate. So it will make it much more elaborative than what you had. And just wanted to update, this does not support all the prompts. So it does support some prompts currently. I think eventually in future, they will expand on this to do more. So probably writing the lengthy emails is a thing of the past now. So you no longer have to do that. And similarly, yeah, solutions architect generated with I'm feeling lucky. So you can write anything here. And after this, what you can also do is a thank you letter for my job interview, or a birthday invitation, or ask for a restaurant recommendation in Toronto. So you can do multiple things here and then just do create. So you can do formalize, elaborate, shorten, I am feeling lucky, or create a new version with recreate. So you can try out all this. I've already demoed that to you. So for you to enable this, just go to your Gmail, and this feature should be rolled out to you. If not, it will eventually be rolled out to you. So I looked at one. Let's look at a similar one, help me write. So I want to ask for a restaurant recommendation, let's say in Bangalore, right? Let me say ask for a restaurant recommendation in Bangalore. Cool. So it gave me, I'm planning a trip to Bangalore. I'm wondering if you would recommend some good restaurants. I'm looking for a place that's authentic Indian food, or let me say authentic Mexican food. Okay, so it does not allow me to edit it. So let me ask it to say formalize. Okay, I will be visiting next week. Would like some authentic recommendation. If you have any favorite restaurants, let me know what type of cuisine and what your thoughts on the food. I would be grateful to your help. So let me know if you guys can try this feature, and if you like this video, let me know, or if you have any feedback on what else needs to be covered, leave a comment. I would try to cover it. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back to our series on Google Bard. So this feature recently got enabled for me. So now I can create images based on my input prompts in Google Slides. So basically there is a blog article I'll also attach to this, which is create images with AI in Google Slides. So you can create images with AI in Google Slides. So basically the function, as we have already discussed in the past, where we saw this feature in Gmail and other places in Word, you need to have joined the waitlist or should have got a notification if you were on the waitlist that you have now been granted access to the following features, and as soon as they show up when you open, they pop up on their own, so you don't have to do anything. So that's the basic one. In Google Slides, we can use help me visualize prompt to create any artificial images using AI. For example, we can ask Google Slides to create a picnic of an abstract painting, right? So let me take this example here. Let me take that example and let's exit it and let me go into this prompt here. So if you click on this function, which is help me visualize, I can just paste it here. Let's basically ask create a picnic. So create an image of a picnic. You can pick couple of slides. If you don't like no style, you can try out variety of them. So it generally gives you a couple of images. If you want more options, you can click show more. It will show you more options that are available to you. As of now, this feature is only on desktop, right? So here you get a picnic of picture of picnics. And similarly, if we didn't like it, let's do abstract painting. Here we can do abstract painting. And now I didn't pick a style. So by default, it will be none if you don't pick a style. If you want any of the specific style, you can go ahead and select that specific style. And the way this would help you is if you are creating images, previously you had to go to Canva or other place to create your images and then copy it over to Google Slides. Now you can pretty much do most of it here. So let me also say Wall Street in 2030, right? And let me say sketch. So I want to see how Wall Street might look like in 2030, or if it's anything else, you can do that too. And note this feature is available to most of them from what I checked. It might not be available to everyone. So please make sure if you don't know how to go to your google.com, and in Google you will see something called search labs. So you have to join there you have to join the waitlist. I'm already on the waitlist and I got access to most of it. If not, you have to ask it. If not, you have to join the waitlist. You can look it up in my previous video. I have already done that. So that's basically what it is. So in the computer, in presentations, just make sure we go to Google Slides. And if you want to know how to go to Google Slides, you can just type Google Slides, or I will also attach the URL. So you can go to Google Slides. So this will take you to your Google Slides, and you just need to go create an empty presentation. This is for people who haven't used Google Slides in the past, and you can select a theme or anything. So let me say I like this theme, I pick it. And then if you want to create a slide, it's like this one. Just click the plus button. If you don't like it, you can also go change the layout here. So you can do that. If you want to turn on what we clicked on, help visualize me, you can do that with this, and you can play around with variety of examples and the themes we looked at. So that's the advantage of this one. So just wanted to cover it. So if you want more of this, you could also do this. So different people look at different one. So let me say I want photography. A photography of a Hawaiian beach at the sunset with palm trees in the distance. You can do that. So what Google also recommends is for better results, consider including the subject. So it's recommended we include the subject, distance, settings, materials. For example, a close-up of boat made out of wood on a lake surrounded by trees. So you can actually, whatever prompts you are using for Midjourney or any other tool, you can also use it for help visualize me. It should give you a good output whatever you are looking for. So that's basically what I wanted to cover here. I hope this helps, and let me know if you can make images and what you made in this. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are going to look at something called Organize with AI in Google Sheets. So let's call this, whatever we are doing is Organize with AI in Google Sheets. So basically these are some of the prompts you can do. You can use AI effectively to structure data in a sheets. So this tool will help you with process and is not intended or factual. So these are some of the stuff you can do. So one is, let's assume you want to remodel a kitchen task list. So let's also assume that I want to launch a website, right? So I want to launch a website that and I need to track all the stuff that's involved in building a website. So let's assume I'm just asking it tracking task for a project to build a new website. So it will generate this. If you like it, you can go ahead and insert it. So it basically create a product plan, conduct user research, design the user interface, develop the application, test the application, and you can assign priorities, everything. So all the work you probably had to do on your own in Excel, now you can just automate it in Help Me Organize. And similarly, if you are a salesperson and you want to see how this is done, you could also do that here. So let me go to a new Google Sheets, right? So let's go to a new Google Sheet, and it again came back, Help Me Organize, and let me ask it to do this, planning a sales kickoff event, how that is done. So similarly, you can also do, if you are someone who likes travel, I'll show you the next one, how you can do that. Okay, so it created this one, which is creating a sales kickoff event. And after that, if you want to do an hiking trip to Iceland or any place of your choice, or if you want to plan a trip with friends and basically figure out your budgeting and other stuff, you can do that here. So that's basically what I wanted to cover here. So again, similar to what we discussed in the previous video, you should be part of the workspace labs, and I already showed you in the last video. Let me show you again. So if you just go to Google, if you would see this icon, which is Search Labs. So in Search Labs, you should have joined the waitlist. I'm already on the waitlist. That's why these features are enabled to me. But if these features are not enabled, then you have to go join the waitlist, and this feature would be available to you. So, and the one more thing I wanted to make sure is, whenever you use this function, the data like prompts you enter, the generated table and your feedback on the table is the information collected by Google to better service your needs better. So that's the only thing I wanted to cover. So I hope this helps, and let me know if there's any other use case you are having issues with, or is this a useful feature? Thank you for joining. Guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll show you how to use Google Bard in your Google Docs. So let's term this Google Doc demo, right? So let me call it Google Bard Doc demo. And after this, so it will show you something called Help Me Write, and these are some of the prompts you can do. So let's say write a poem about write a poem about nature, right? So let me ask it to write a poem, write a novel about startups. Let's see if it's able to write it. Or write a book about startups. So it should write us something. So you can say 6 page, 8 page, 9 page, whatever you want. It would only write it accordingly. Cool. So it is writing this here. And let me say elaborate. So I want it in much more detail, since this is a blog article or a book. So you want it much more elaborate. You can ask it to elaborate it. Or if you want to shorten it, you can do that too. So cool. It did write something here, and if you like it, you can click insert. So it inserted the text here. If I don't want it, I can just take it, and here you would see a prompt like this. If you click it, it will be back. So similarly, let me say how to guide for babysitting, right? You can ask it how to guide for babysitting. So it should write this prompt for you. Cool. So it gave you a list. If you like it, you can keep it, or if you want to rephrase it, you can click on rephrase. It will rephrase the content for you. Okay, so it is giving here, or if you want it in formalization, you want to click on formalize, or if you want it short, you can do that. So you can play around with those options, and basically that's what it is. If you like it, you can click insert. And after this, let's do one more. So let's assume that after your interview, you generally write a thank you note to your interviewer, or you want to create a resume, it can do it too. So, okay, so it did write it even did know my name. So it added my name. That's amazing. So let me ask it to discard. So let me ask it to do something. Write a resume for software engineer in Python for mid-senior position, right? So you can ask it to do anything here. Let's see if it's able to write a resume. Okay, see, it wrote a resume here. So if you had trouble writing your resume, now Google Bard can write your resume for you. So there's a lot of other stuff. So if you like it, I want it elaborate. So if you don't like a one-page resume, if you're somebody who wants to go with two-page resume, you can ask it to elaborate it. Cool. So it did it. So if you like it, click insert, and that's it. And you can change this with your data, or if you don't like the template, it's still here. You can click on edits suggesting. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover for the Google Bard doc. And yeah, so that's all they have covered here. And that's it for now. And let me know if you have any other examples in mind. I would be covering that. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining.
Google will also soon launch extensions for Bard, including from Google's own apps and services like Maps, Sheets, Gmail, and Docs, and Google will soon make it easier to export Bard's responses to Gmail and Docs, too. But maybe more importantly, Google is also working with third-party partners to bring their services into Bard. For now, though, the only third-party service highlighted by Google during its press conference is Adobe's Firefly generative image generation service, but support for Wolfram Alpha and other providers is coming soon, too. Support for Firefly seems like an odd move at first, given that Google features its own image generation service as part of Vertex, too. Adobe's big advantage, though, is that Firefly is commercially safe, given that it only trained it on images that Adobe had licensed or that are in public domain. That's held back some of its capabilities. It won't generate a Balenciaga pope for you, for example, but also ensures that users, and in this case, that includes Google, aren't running any legal risks. Also new in this update, Bard can now surface images in its responses. Say you are looking for information about a tourist destination, Bard will now show you popular sites there.
Colab will soon add AI coding features like code completions, natural language to code generation, and even a code assisting chatbot. Colab will use Cody, a family of code models built on Palm 2, which was just announced at Google I/O last week. Cody was fine-tuned on a large dataset of high-quality, permissively licensed code from external sources to improve performance on coding tasks. Plus, the versions of Cody being used to power Colab have been customized especially for Python and for Colab-specific uses. Colab users in the United States will get first access to our Cody models inside Colab, which dramatically increase programming speed, quality, and comprehension. Our first features will focus on code generation. Natural language to code generation helps you generate larger blocks of code, writing whole functions from comments or prompts. The goal here is to reduce the need for writing repetitive code, so you can focus on the more interesting parts of programming and data science. Eligible users in Colab will see a new Generate button in their notebooks, allowing them to enter any text prompt to generate code. For eligible paid users, as you type, you'll see autocomplete suggestions. Google is also bringing the helpfulness of a chatbot directly into Colab. Soon, you'll be able to ask questions directly in Colab like, how do I import data from Google Sheets, or how do I filter a pandas data frame? Access to these features will roll out gradually in the coming months, starting with paid subscribers in the US and then expanding into the free of charge type.
Hey guys, welcome back to the series on Google Bard. So the new feature I'm demoing is one from Google Sheets, which is Add to Sheets. So for those who like coordinating with friends, family, or travel events, so Add to Sheets make it easier to search results to a collaborative sheet. So the idea is you type for any search group in your Google search results, and if you right click on any of your search results, you see this icon, and if you click on it, it shows all the available your spreadsheets in Google Sheets, and if you click add, this gets added and you can go back and revisit it. So let's look at the demo of this feature. So I have a sheet called Add to Sheets. This is an empty. If you want, you can go ahead and create a new spreadsheet and call it whatever you want. So I have a sheet that's already enabled. Here I have a search results for generative AI startups, and the window I have set here in tools is 24 hours. So if you actually like this article here, or if I liked any article, let's assume I'm creating a weekly newsletter and I want to actually look at collect this article so that I can make a newsletter at the end of the week. So I can go, I have Add to Sheets. If I click done, and if I go back here, so you actually see that hyperlink got added here. So similarly, let's try a couple of another one here. So let's look at this one. So this looks like a good one. So I've added this here. And if I see that my second link got added here, and so why are companies creating specialized generative AI for risk assessment? Okay, so whatever you are interested in, you can go ahead and do that. This works on any search results or any article you find interesting. I can add it. So this can be when you search Google for a specific travel site or a list of competitor websites you are looking to add, you don't have to copy paste stuff now. So it's basically just one click would add data to your search results and you can revisit it later. So that's all I wanted to cover. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. You might have read the news that now Bard is multilingual. It supports 40 plus international languages. In the series 1, we'll be looking at the 9 language which is listed here, which Bard will support. I'll show you how you can query Bard in these languages, and if you don't know how to read these languages, if you understand them, you can just listen to the output. Bard provides it in that regional language. And if you probably don't understand any of these languages, you might skip this video. In the follow-up video, if the other languages in the white, which are not highlighted in green, do you understand any of it, do move on to the next video. But if you want to see how to use it, it's roughly the same template for any language. As I walk you through how to do it for one language, you can repeat it for other language if you know how to type it in that language, or if you can even type the English variant of it. I also went to Bard and tried the speak function, use microphone function. Currently it does not understand. So let me try this here. Dina hengide. So it does not understand the languages well. So I would at least I would say that it does not understand the languages as you speak well. But if you type it, it did give a decent response. So let's get started with that. So basically Hindi everybody knows. Whoever from India, I think you would have studied in school or colleges. So Hindi many might know. So I am not a Hindi native speaker. I do know some Hindi. So all this says is Taja Khabar Kya Hai, which means what's the latest news today. So let me copy paste this and let me run this here. So my prompt was in Hindi. and my response will also be in Hindi. And let's assume I don't know how to read Hindi. You can also just play it.
2023 के लिए कुछ प्रमुख समाचार कहानियां इस प्रकार है। रूस यूक्रेन युद्ध जारी है। रूस ने 24 फरवरी 2022 को यूक्रेन पर आक्रमण किया और तब से युद्ध जारी है। युद्ध ने लाखों लोगों को बेघर कर दिया है और
So as you can see, that's how you can prompt in Hindi, generate your response in Hindi and play that prompt in Hindi. Similarly, you can try out the other prompts. I just tried out the basic prompt just to show you how to enable BART in a multilingual language. And this part of the part 1 of the series focuses on the 9 Indian languages which Google BART said they will support. So after this, the next one I picked is Kannada, which happens to be my language, which also is Ittichege Suddhi Enu, which means again what's the news today. So let's see if BART does it. Yeah, we'll look at all the 9 languages input, but I use Google Translate to get the prompt in Hindi. I use the same text and it gave me this.
ಇತ್ತೀಚಿನ ಸುದ್ದಿಯು ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನಿಷ್ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಭಾಗವಾಗಿರುವ ಕೆಟಲೋನಿಯನ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರವು ಇಂದು ಸ್ಪೇನ್ನಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಘೋಷಿಸಲು ಸಭೆ ನಡೆಸುತ್ತಿದೆ ಎಂಬುದು ಸ್ಪೇನ್ನ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ.
So yeah, that's the Kannada prompt for you. Then let's move on to the next one, Urdu. So Urdu also happens to be the third largest speaking language in India, second or third, I don't exactly know. So let me copy this. Again, it's the same news. What's the news today? So let's see what it understands. Probably many people understand this across the globe, then probably the other two. But yeah, all of them at least have 50 to 60 million speakers. And for some reason, I don't see the audio function for this. It only gave me the text. I'm not familiar with this that much, so I can't comment on that. So let's move on to the next one, which is Gujarati. So, which basically said Taja Samachar Chuche. I don't know what it is, but let's actually, I don't read Gujarati or I don't speak Gujarati. So let's actually try this. Some of you might. Okay, it had some issue with some internet connection. Let me retry my prompt. Okay. So yeah, it gave us this. This has the listen option.
હાલમાં યુક્રેનમાં યુદ્ધ ચાલી રહ્યું છે જે 24 ફેબ્રુઆરી 2022 ચાલી રહ્યું છે. રશિયાએ યુક્રેન પર આક્રમણ.
Okay, so that covers the Gujarati part. And let me move on to Bengali. I actually didn't see, I saw Bangla. I didn't see Bengali, but Google press release said Bengali. So I'm assuming Bangla and Bengali are same. So if that's the case, then it should cover the population of West Bengal and even people of Bangladesh. So let's see what it would do and let's see if it can generate the text here in this input. Again, it's the same prompt. What's the latest news here? So I've taken the same prompt. So people who don't speak this language actually see how they can convert their own language and play this.
আজ 8ই জুলাই 2023 সর্বশেষ খবর হলো ইউক্রেনে যুদ্ধ চলছে। রাশিয়া গত 24 ফেব্রুয়ারি থেকে ইউক্রেন আক্রমণ করছে এবং যুদ্ধ এখনো চলছে। যুদ্ধে
Yep. The next prompt I'm looking at is Marathi. Again, this is a widely spoken language and let's see what it gives us. And okay.
येथे 14 जुलै 2023 रोजी काही ताज्या बातम्या आहेत. युक्रेनमध्ये युद्ध सुरू आहे. रशिया 24 फेब्रुवारी 2022 पासून युक्रेनवर हल्ला करत आहे आणि युद्ध अजूनही सुरू आहे.
So yeah, again I can't validate that it's right or wrong. I've just used Google Translate to generate the prompt and fed it as an input. And again, the last 3 languages are from the south after Kannada. Kannada is also from the south. So it's Malayalam, Tamil and Telugu what we are looking at. So let's see what it's gonna give us. The prompt is same. So you could try it on any of the other languages too if you watch this. Or if you want me walking over them, I would be covering it in 2 more segments. And let's see how this would look.
ഇനിപ്പറയുന്നവയാണ് 2023 ജൂലൈ 14 വരെ ഏറ്റവും പുതിയ വാർത്തകൾ. യുക്രൈൻ യുദ്ധം. യുക്രൈനിൽ യുദ്ധം 147-ാം ദിവസത്തിലേക്ക് പ്രവേശിക്കുന്നു. കൂടാതെ റഷ്യ കിഴക്ക് ലുഹാൻസ്ക് പ്രദേശത്ത്
Okay, next is Tamil. This is also a widely spoken language in the south. So let's see what it would give. The prompt is again the same. So it does not change with this. Let's listen to what it generated.
2023 ஜூலை 14 நிலவரப்படி சமீபத்திய செய்தி இங்கே. யுக்ரைனை பிப்ரவரி 24, 2022 முதல் ரஷ்யா தாக்கி வருகிறது. மேலும் போர் இன்னும் நடந்து வருகிறது. ரஷ்யா யுக்ரைனை பிப்ரவரி 24, 2022 முதல் தாக்கி வருகிறது. மேலும் போர் இன்னும் நடந்து வருகிறது.
Okay, the last one we are looking at in this video is Telugu. Again, this is another southern state in India and it's a regional language there, which is mainly spoken in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So let's listen to what it generates in Telugu, and let's also play this to some extent to understand what it's reading.
2023 జూలై 14న తాజా వార్తలు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నాయి. యుక్రెయిన్లో యుద్ధం కొనసాగుతోంది. రష్యా ఈస్ట్లో దాడిని తీవ్రతరం చేస్తోంది.
So the idea here of this video was, if you are not a native English speaker, you understand multilingual better. So how could this tutorial enable you to query Bard in your regional languages and play around with it? And similarly, in the part 2 and part 3, we'll be covering the other 31 languages with a similar SOP wherein we would take a prompt, play with it. I will try to cluster languages from a region together so that people from that region might understand it better, and it might also make better use of your time. So I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome to this next series on Google Bard. We might have seen the new Bard updates that came out. The prominent among them was you can now upload images to Google Bard, which basically now ensures that Google Bard has the eyes to basically interpret whatever you are asking. However, there are certain limitations. It's not yet able to perform. Like, we're going to look at some use cases where it is able to perform and where it is not able to perform. But it's the basic summary is it's not just the text data. It can now also respond to your input images, and I've also read they might add support to videos in the future. So something like what ChatGPT plugins can do. There are some plugins which can give you transcript of a video. So Google might also add it in the future. But here is what they talk about at the moment, and I will point you to this link. You can feel free to read through. So basically this is what they talk about. You can provide a series of mixed inputs, which is text, images, or any other formats they would provide. And they are gonna, here's the output you would get. And they did some study on data only, long data only, and different type of images. So this is what the results came out to be. And I don't want to spend too much of time here. I will provide you this link. You can use it. But this one, since this course is generic and does not only cover technical part, I'll just give some specific use cases. But you have this resource to look into the technical roadmap. TAMP basically is task and motion planning, and that's what they talk about here when they say TAMP, data only, and say can data only, and the different aspect of it is explained in this paper, which you can look it up. And after this, I have a small presentation here. Let me walk you through. So the multimodality is it not only supports text, it can be images or any other type of input that is barring text. So that's basically what multimodal is. And if you want to see this, you can look at this here. I have the link to this here, which basically is this. Where it's talking about visual question answering, task and motion planning, robot top, and image data and text data, how the interaction happens. So this is a cool MP4 they have. You can look it up if you have time. And after that, so that's basically what we went over. How does Palm E work, which the the Lambda model didn't have this, but the newer model has this power. And so let's look at BART to do a couple of things. So let's see what it is, right? So if you upload an image, can BART estimate the age of anything? So I would like to try that out here. I gave it, and you don't even have to input the image. You can just copy it, go to BART and paste it. Okay, so maybe it won't work that way. So let me go here and copy this image. Let's see if it picks it up. Okay, so now let me go paste it here. So the image went in. So Google Lens is now integrated with the BART, so that gives it the ability to see images. And this is something I don't know why Google is not willing to do it yet. So it refuses to even give a specific age range. So maybe it's not made public yet by Google. It's still in the training phase. So that didn't work. So let me take this example here and let's see if it's able to give me the items in the menu, right? So I don't know what to eat in this. So let me ask BART to suggest identify the most healthy stuff to order in this menu. So yeah, I think next place you don't know what to order but you want to eat something healthy, just upload the menu to BART. It's gonna suggest to you. And yeah, you can also give other preferences. I tried it like vegan and other stuff. It did a decent job. Cool. So it gave me what to order, and let's actually try it here. I am vegan. Suggest vegan options. Cool. So it gave a vegan options from there. That's amazing. And the next part, what I wanted to show was, and yeah, many of you, if you have used other LLMs, you know they can do it. But why this is useful, I'm going to tell you later on. And okay, this is my fridge. And I am vegan. Suggest the dishes I could make from this. So let's see if this prompt would work. Or you can give a couple of ingredients and ask it what all are possible. So probably, let's see what it's gonna give us. And what I didn't try, we are gonna try it now, is can it do specific cuisines like Mediterranean? Okay, can you suggest Mediterranean? I didn't type it. Okay. Can you suggest Mediterranean dishes with recipes for ingredients in my fridge? Okay, so it should understand and give me that. Okay, so it gave me something to do with some Mediterranean dishes here. So let me copy paste it again and ask it suggest some vegan Indian dishes to cook. Okay, so let's see what it's gonna give us. So in the meantime, let me move on to the next part, and you can also try this out. I have an image here. You would have access to this. So it identifies some ambiguous images too, and gives a pretty decent description. So basically, BART's new ability seems incremental, but they are actually huge step for AI chatbots. So BART now has the highs with little help from cell phone wielding camera, which is yourself. The bot can now see the world, not just understand via text. From what I have seen, its visual understanding appears complex and nuanced. It does not appear to be just deriving simple words or object tags. the processing as text, although I can't confirm. BART is now most likely multilingual, and this is a big step. So OpenAI, unlike OpenAI, Google has decades of data like video, which is YouTube, and it also has tagged photos, which is in Google Photos and Google Maps and other visual tools, not to mention the billions of images in Google search, and we don't know whether they're going to use it for training or not. So Google has vastly more processing power at its disposal. Multimodal AI generally takes more power than text-based AI. That's the big reason why OpenAI hasn't yet switched to multimodal version of GPT. It may simply be unable to afford resources to run such a system at scale. In short, Google has an advantage in terms of data and compute power. And with this newly visual BART, it's a decent advantage to have. And BART can perform wide variety of visual functions. Its ability will only grow with time and training. And that makes it officials. AI chatbot can now see, and that's a big differentiator between non-multimodal LLM versus multimodal LLM. And since the courses I've covered have been mostly be on ChatGPT and BART, I've been comparing that. In future, I would look into other LLMs too. And when we do that, we are going to look at some specific use cases, and that's a really good use case that came out of BART. And yeah, so from the ingredients, it gave us the dishes you could make. If you want, you can actually ask it to suggest some ingredients like this. It will also give you how to prepare them in greater detail once you zero in on what dish you want to cook. So I hope you liked it. Thank you for joining, guys. Welcome back. So we are now looking at a new feature in Google BART. So wherein we can check the response that Google BART gave us is correct or not. How do we do that? It will provide us the sources from where the data is fetched from, and for which it's not able to, it will have a different color combination as shown in this diagram below. So where the content is found similar, it will provide in green. Where the content is not found and looks like possibly it might differ, then it would be in this color. Before we go into that, let's understand what is hallucination. So hallucination in the context of LLM refers to generation of text that is erroneous, nonsensical, or detached from reality. And there have been some studies that BART generates about 4% in maintenance and reality knowledge exam, and in ChatGPT it's 5%, whereas in PHM exam it was 10% and 29%. And this was probably with the Lambda model. I don't know what we will get it with the newer models of BART, which is Gemini, or the previous model, which is PALM. I don't know what's the rate with that. I don't have the steady data for it. So I would not be able to provide that data. So what are the types of hallucinations that can happen? So source reference divergence can result in sentence contraction, and exploitation through jailbreak prompts can result in prompt contraction. Reliance or incomplete or contradictory data sets, factual contradiction, overfitting and lack of novelty will result in nonsensical output. Guesswork from vague sources or insufficiency detailed prompts will result in irrelevant and random hallucination. So let's start from the last one. So what is irrelevant and random hallucinations? So LLMs can generate hallucination in the form of relevant or random information that holds no pertinence to either the input or the desired output. The hallucinations contribute to the generation of erroneous and potentially misleading context. Irrelevant or random hallucination confuse users and impair usefulness of the LLM generation text. And what is nonsensical output? LLMs can generate text that can lack logical coherence or meaningful content. So this type of hallucination manifests as nonsensical output, where the generated text fails to convey relevant or comprehensible information, hinder the usability and reliability of the LLMs when adopting to a newer technology in practical applications. So factual contradiction, LLM possess the capacity to generate fictional information, falsely presenting it as factual. So they manifest when LLM produce inaccurate information that are erroneously presented as reliable information, have profound implications as they contribute to dissemination of misinformation and erode the credibility of LLM generated context. There has been some studies done where GPT 3.5 contributed to approximately 61% hallucinations, correctly answering 33 prompts, providing incorrect responses to 21 prompts. So the hallucination was 39%. In case of GPT-4, the success rate was 72%. The hallucination rate was 28%. However, I don't have this data for factual contradiction for BART. Similarly, prompt contradiction occurs when a sentence generated by an LLM contradicts the prompt used to generate it. This type of hallucination raises the concerns where reliability and adherence to the intended meaning or the context. So prompt contradictions can undermine the trustworthiness of the LLM output as they deviate from the desired alignment with the provided output. When we come to sentence contradiction LLM, they have the potential to generate sentences that contradict a previous statement within a user generated text. Introducing inconsistencies determine the overall coherence of the context. And this sentence contradiction poses significant challenges in maintaining logical flow that can result in confusion for the user relying from LLM generated text. Research on self-contradictory hallucination in LLMs result in a high degree of self-contradiction. In case of ChatGPT, this was 14.3%. In GPT-4, it went to 11.8%. And similarly here, I don't have the data for BORD. Here, I'm just giving you the data, how this works. So coming back to this one, what are the potential and we recognize and understand this type of hallucination, we have better addressed the challenge and limitation of LLMs, and we need to focus on effective mitigation strategies to improve accuracy, coherence, and trustworthiness of LLMs. So we don't have to look into the strategies to mitigate it, because Google has recently rolled out a fact checker. With this specific new feature, we can check the data that's generated is true or not. Before that, let's look at some consequences. So discriminating and toxic content. So LLM have potential to perpetuate and amplify harmful biases through hallucination, giving rise to production of discriminatory and toxic content. Research results highlights the impact of persona alignment on ChatGPT, indicating its toxicity can increase up to 6% for a specific user in output that endorse incorrect stereotypes. So harmful dialogue and opinions. The training dataset contains stereotypes which can be reinforced by this type of models themselves. Whereas privacy. So LLMs, when training with research on extensive data sets, may raise concerns regarding the privacy violation, as they may contain some specific data of individual and organizations. So there was a BlackBerry research which said 74% of tech decision makers not only recognize the potential of cybersecurity posed by LLMs, but they also express significant concerns about its implication. Furthermore, according to recent ChatGPT and generative AI statistics, 11% of data shared with ChatGPT by employees consisted of sensitive data, including client information. So you have to be careful what data you feed into LLM. The last one is misinformation and disinformation. So one of the critical consequences stemming from LLM hallucination is the generation of seemingly accurate yet false context lacking empirical evidences due to limited contextual understanding and inability to fact check. So LLM can inadvertently propagate misinformation leading to spread of inaccurate or hate information. In a survey, approximately 30% of respondents expressed dissatisfaction with the LLM experience, primarily due to incorrect answers or lack of comprehension. There is a potential for a malicious intent as users may inadvertently exploit LLM to disseminate misinformation. So purposefully navigating false narrative. Notably, research conducted by BlackBerry reveals a significant 49% of individuals hold the belief that LLMs will be utilized as a means to profilate disinformation and misinformation. The unchecked proliferation of misinformation and disinformation through LLM will have far-reaching consequences across social, cultural, economic, and political domain. So let's go to this one now here. So what we can do is starting today with responses in English. So let me ask a specific question. I'll show you what you can do. So let me ask this question. If you don't like this one, you can list other countries that are in recession. So there's Germany that's in recession currently, and there is probably couple of other countries if you look up that are potentially in recession. So let's see if this claim is right or wrong. Let's wait for the Google response. And okay, so we got some data here. And if you double click on this G button, it will highlight phrases and it would help us learn more about supporting or contradicting information by search. As you can see, it is getting all the sources and okay. So it is printing the data here and the source it's able to get this from. So the ones that it didn't, it's probably not able to authenticate it. So let me ask which countries may likely be in recession in 2024. So let me see if it's able to give us a list of countries. So as you can see, previously the response I got, this is how it looks like. So the text, if you click on the text, you will see where the source was fetched from, and where it's not able to correlate, Google found data where it differs from this, and it is checking some government websites to determine that. So that's one part of it. And now let's double check this data. So yeah, and it says ongoing war in Ukraine, because we won't know in 24 probably this will go on or not, and probably they haven't gone to recession yet, are less likely. And similarly United Kingdom. So some countries it was able to say with a high degree of certainty and map data sources. For others it was not able to. So the idea here is when we click on the G button, which is this, click on this G button, BART will read the response and evaluate whether there is a content across the web to substantiate it. When a statement can be evaluated, you can click on the highlighted phrase and learn about the supporting phrase. Or the contradicting information by the search. So that's basically what I wanted to cover here. I hope you got an idea about hallucination and how Google BART helps you to validate data that's generated has reliable links, or was the data generated out of potentially out of hallucination. So thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back to the new video. So what we are looking at now is the new interface for Google BART, which they did a couple of updates on, and we are going to go over them in detail. The first one I wanted to discuss here are something called extensions. So what are extensions? So extensions help you to bring the Google ecosystem together and integrate it with BART. So by default, you have Google Flights, Hotels, Google Maps and YouTube integrated with this. But however, Workspace is not integrated by default. If you want to enable Workspace, you have to do it. So all this says is Bard will have now access to this, and it is my email. So access the information from Google Workspace like your email, documentation, share parts of your conversation and other relevant with Google Workspace. So Bard and other extensions use it, may be shared, it's included. So what Bard also says is no human will use it, only their AI might use this for training purposes. So that's what they mention here. So let me go back to my chat here, and so let's look at some couple of prompts. So I recently attended an event called Intel Innovation. So just to show you that, I'll go to my email, and if I type Intel Innovation, I should see many emails regarding that here. Let me show you that. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so if I just type Intel Innovation here, okay, so you will see some couple of emails from Intel Innovation. So what I want this to do is, let me go back here and let me say, show me the emails from Intel Innovation, and let me see if it's able to list all the ones that are there. So this is just the mundane stuff what you can do with the plugins which we are covering. And basically, yeah, it listed all the emails, and I can just go and let me say, if you want, you can ask more about event surveys and other stuff. So you are free to do that. And if you want to use a specific of any of this, so you have to just do an @. So if you only want to look up your Gmail, you can do this. If you want to do Google Docs, you can do this. So let me say, do I have any links for Udemy in my Google Docs, which are there? So it is going to point me to the docs where there are Udemy links. And if I go here and click on this, so this was a doc where I generally store, where I do promote some of my coupons for the course. And I think the other one was some instructor session I had attended. So it was mostly about that, like do's and don'ts for a course. So that's the next part. And similarly, let me also say, find flights for me to India during Thanksgiving, and based on past, predict the best time to book tickets. So let me see if it's able to resolve this. Okay, so it is able to do that, and it also gave me some suggestions. So yeah, it says based on this is in September to the best time to book is from September to early October. This is because airlines typically release their holiday flight schedules a few months in advance and tends to be lower. So yeah, if you are pretty much into travel, you can do this. Or if you want more ideas, you can also try this. So we can say plan a visit, right? So I can say plan a visit, show me flights to visit my aunt in Madrid in first week of in the week of December 2022. Give me gift ideas and other stuff. So yep, it can do that too, wherein you can interface multiple plugins together to generate the results for you. So it's first using the Google plugin, and then it's probably going to use any other plugin to give you gift ideas what you could use here. Cool. So that covers it. And the other one I wanted to show you is we have the YouTube one. So in YouTube, let me say, so show me a video tutorial on how to master system design for L3, L4 interviews. So to come back, L3, L4 is generally a term used in Meta, and probably in other companies they use E3 and E4 too. So E3, E4 or L3, L4 are generally the entry and entry plus 2-3 years of experience level in those companies. So they generally tend to focus on low level system design. They generally tend to focus on system design at a very higher level. They are not going to ask you to elaborate on much greater detail. Whereas for senior engineering interviews, probably L5 and L6, they're going to go in greater detail. So basically that's what I'm asking here. And let me see if this is able to find some good tutorials for that here. Cool. So it gave me 20 system design concepts in this. The 4 type of system engine, it's not right. I asked for system design. So yeah, this is system design. It's a good source. And probably system design feedback, Tesla. Yeah. So it's giving you some designs. Some may be accurate, some may be not. But yeah, it gave you a couple of links here. And probably I think I looked at it. So it's generally based on views is what it does list. So after flight, so let me say, let me ask, give me some ideas to visit concerts in Levi's Stadium. Okay, so let me see. It's gonna use Google Maps here. And it's gonna give me the routes. How could I go from there from my current location? Okay, and let me specifically ask it with maps. I didn't enable maps here, so let me enable maps and ask this question. Okay, so if it does not give you the right results, just make sure you always enable that here. So yeah, it gave me all the path here, and I can ask a follow-up question. Give me the estimated time from for driving versus public transit. Okay, so it should give me that. Cool. So yeah, it gave me the directions here. If I just click through that, it gives me how could I go from there to there. And the next follow-up question would be, I need a hotel in SF for probably, let me say September 30th for 2 nights. And let me see if it's able to find me one. So yeah, it enabled Google Hotels by default. And now we are going to see this one. And okay, now let me ask it to sort by price and ratings near Mission Street. So yeah, or if you have any other street in mind, you can provide it. And it's gonna work. And I've looked it up. It does not provide Airbnb, so it's probably any hotel that's listed is what you get here. So yeah, I think probably Airbnb might roll this out on their own platform someday, and it's gonna do that. And now let me say, can you list by DESC? So DESC basically is descending order. So if you are going to query anything, I'm just asking it to sort it, give me the most expensive places. So initially I asked it in ascending in the ascending order of price. So now it gave me the descending order of price here. So that's all I had. And in the follow-up tutorial, I would be looking into the very popular ones that are floating around in social media and other places, which are good use cases of BART plugins. So that would be the next part of the tutorial I would be doing. So the first part just gives you an intro of what are plugins. So plugins basically are if you have used ChatGPT plugins. So the idea here is all these large language models have a cutoff date that they only are aware of a knowledge till probably 2022 some date or 2023 some date based on when the model was released. And post that date, they don't have knowledge of current events in the world. So the data they are providing to you is not real time. So with this plugins, they are now able to talk to the real world like YouTube or any other platforms based on their trained knowledge and give you better results. And with workspaces, they now are able to connect your own data repository to large language model in a no code environment so that you can talk to your own data and instead of doing a search, which is an ineffective way of doing it, which hurts your own productivity. So this is an efficient way of doing it. However, the downside might be security, that if you are linking it, I don't know if this data is going to go out to the outside world or not, because Google pretty much claims it's not going to go out, but we all know hacks do happen and data does go out. So just be careful if you are very private to some data. It's totally up to you if you want to connect it or not. And at workplaces and other stuff, do make sure to read your policies, because Samsung and some places are very specific not to link their corporate data to the external world because some data got leaked. So that's the onus should be on you to follow what guidelines happen at your own workplace. However, with respect to your personal data, the choice is totally yours what you want to do. If you are pretty much into privacy and worried data might leak, then you might choose to skip it. If you are okay if this goes out, it doesn't matter. It is just some newsletters I get, just some non-important emails I get. I don't have any of my personal critical information here. Yeah, then it doesn't matter. So thank you for joining. I hope this helps. Hey guys, welcome back. So I wanted to cover in this video all the new updates that are in BART. We already looked at one of them, being the multimodal search. So this video does not cover it, but we are going to look at rest of them in this video. The first two is from customization. One is listen to responses. So basically, if you don't like reading and if you are doing multitasking something and if you just want to read anything BART generates, so let's see how we can do that. So there is a default option here. What are some ways to make instant noodles, which is delicious, right? So I just click the default prompt and you see this option, listen.
Here are some ways to make instant noodles even more delicious. Use better broth.
So you can listen to that now. And similarly, if you don't like it, there's multiple other stuff you can do. Let's look at it. And you can also adjust the responses. So if you click here, you want it to be more casual, you can make it more casual, or you want it to be simpler, you can make it simpler, or you can play around with whatever works for you. You want it to be shorter, you can. So whatever works for you, you can do that. That's the second update I wanted to discuss. So you can now change the tone of BART's responses to 5 different options: simple, long, short, professional, or casual. So again, I have tested on some use cases. What works for me might not work for you. This video is just explaining to you what options are available. You're totally free to use what works for you. So the next features are in terms of productivity. So let's assume I like this conversation and I want to pin and rename the conversation. You can do that. So one way of doing it is click on this. You can do rename. So let me say noodles, right? So you can go click noodles. And if you really like it, you can pin it. So yeah, so this would be differentiated from rest of the conversations. If you don't like it, you can always unpin it. Or if you want it, you can repin it again. So that's basically what it is. And similarly, share the responses. So let me say I like this response. I want to tell my friends how good noodles are made. You can just say share, create a public link, and you can share it with anyone. So, and it also has default options with whom you can share on various social media platforms. So yeah, I'm deleting this. So I'm done with my use case for this. And the last one I wanted to show was, you might have heard in Google I/O, they did mention that currently you can export to Google Bard, but they'll also support REPL in future. So let's look at it here. So let me say, write a program for reading file from a CSV and removing duplicates and removing duplicate records. So let me type this, okay, or you can ask any question you want. And I think currently only Python is supported. In future they'll add more language support. So I'm just showing what is currently there. So you can just go click here. You can see export to Colab. We have already looked at it, so I'm not gonna do it. So you can do export to REPL. So it asks you some terms and conditions. You can do that. And if you don't have a REPL account, it will ask you to sign in, and REPL is free for most basic use cases, so you don't have to pay. So yeah, this one is just walking you to understand that you can just run it here, or if you want to provide an input file, you can do that too. So that's basically what I had, and that's what I wanted to cover about new features in Bard. Let me know what's your favorite feature. I hope this helps. Thank you for joining. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are now going to look at Vertex AI use cases for LLM and generative AI, and we are going to look at contact center as the use case for now. So generative AI, large language models, are used for opening up new opportunities across the board. We can make use of complex data and access it in a variety of ways which was earlier considered impossible. This can now power online interactions, customer scenario. It can also be used to generate more content and unlock infinite possibilities of AI data for enterprises. So Google is opening generative AI. So Google is opening generative AI across the LLM and a portfolio to benefit AI practitioners, AI developer, or a business user. You will benefit from this innovation. So if you are imagining AI across the different LLM stack, it as you can see from this in the Vertex model. So in the model garden, you will have access to the latest LLM Google Research and Brain have published. In future, Google is working on expanding this to other open source model. Google is now introducing generative AI APIs which will work on the top of specific model use cases. So users can use Palm API to do clustering and generate summaries. You can also do generative content using generative AI Studio. As a developer, you can use generative app builder to actually create specific applications for specific context. For example, you can use info bots to just point to a document base and generate a conversational experience on top of it. So Google packages all these technologies into a specific industry like contact center AI, which is known as CCAI, as you can see. Then the next one is a document AI and discovery AI and the healthcare AI. So which makes it easy for all the end users to consume all the technology from this innovation. So contact center AI has been around for 5 years, which has given Google deep insights into challenges faced by both customers, agents, and contact center agents. On the user side, there is a long list of frustration of long wait times, of being down hierarchical IVR trees and not being able to get into the info they need for the task they want to be resolved in an intuitive manner. On the agent side, there is a constant churn and high onboarding cost associated with this. Contact center managers are frustrated as they feel they lack the contact center. They lack insights and treat contact centers as a black box. So Google CCI is supercharging conversational AI contact center, has a vast portfolio of products built on top of CCI. So virtual agent development platform powered by Dialogflow, where you can create conversational AI experience to automate tasks, help users resolve issues without even reaching out to live agents. With Agent Assist, when the conversation gets escalated to a live agent, Google can assist with agents and make them empowered to handle questions appropriately. With Contact Center AI Insights, we can look into the entire conversation and help generate actionable insights for your business decisions. So all of this is enabled through Contact Center AI platform, which was launched last year. So Google LLMs in CCI, the way you can generate AI used in CCI is through three issues. So one is user first experience, which wow the users with the platform. The next is focused on developer friendly, generate a high level quality generative AI, and we can calibrate about being, we can provide a platform of the response being controlled. So you can control what responses and sources you want the responses to come from. Here is an example of CCI platform which Google has implemented, and you can also implement this too using the Infobot and other solutions. So this talks about some content done through that. So we are walking through some use cases like how you can use it. You can just point it to a domain and it will have access to the flow, and on top of it the developers can also source the content where you want it coming from. So if you don't like the content, if you don't want it from the outside world, you can explicitly list the data sources. So you want this coming from into your LLM. So here you are specifying the content of your website, other websites, and the general knowledge of Google AI. So that's the flow. It looks for your local content, then the contents you have specified. If it's not there, then it uses the bot knowledge to try to get the solution. So pre-built flows, Google has looked across industries and built a variety of use cases you can add to your user flow with a single click. Examples of this can be authenticating users, checking order status, and explaining a bill. And click if you add your dialog flow, and you are provided with instructions on how to set up your API to handle that. The next one is how to build how you build graphs in graphical interface. You no longer need to specify every possible route which is handled by AI. You just need to specify the business logic and the task your bot should be able to complete here. So there is also the third way of doing it. If you don't like the way of doing graphs, you can use natural language instructions and you can choose the type of flow you want to use here. And the next one is Agent Assist. So few features which live agents and live agents and help to serve customers better. So before call summarizations, give them the context of the conversations that went into the bot beforehand, and after summarization helps them to give a starting point to do a call wrap up. Most of the time they don't even need to do anything. The data is accurate. So if you look at this one, the data that's provided is accurate and we don't have to do anything here. So Agent Assist is the next one that will be coming up. And in the agent assist, it uses an info bot tailored for live agents. Has to do is to point to the set of set of data sources, and you can also see a live agent as question to the bot. And bots are powered by the same tech that it first look for the local content. If it's not available, then it looks for global content. This enables a live agents to do deep linking. And for developers, it's super easy to set up in their agent assist conversation profile, and all they have to do is select the features. The last one is CCAI Insights. All the conversational data from human agents bots can easily together use for analysis, and customer easily can be used for analysis. Whatever people are calling, what's top of the mind, and data would be available here. And last one is customer inquiries, where all the questions coming, the top trending topics are available, and that can be used to make business decisions later on. So that's all I wanted to cover. Thank you for joining.